Chapter 2061. Through the transmission array, Chen Shang was directly teleported to the Nine Heaven City. Although he did not see Shui Shenxian, Hua Shangyu and the others, Chen Shang was not in a rush. They were all rather busy, and when this big battle broke out, they urgently needed pills and array discs, as well as a large number of divine weapons. Possession of these things was equivalent to having a few more lives. It was extremely important. When Chen Shang arrived at the Nine Heaven City, he discovered that waves of evil spirits were coming from outside. With a glance, he knew that the devil army had arrived, and that there were quite a few of them. What surprised him was that the great demon army was outside the city, but the huge Nine Heaven City was not in a mess. The transmission array here was already closed, and could not be transferred in case evil beings snuck in, but they could be teleported out. But there were still many people inside the Nine Heaven City, and the number of people inside did not decrease. It could only mean that the people inside had a lot of trust in the Nine Heaven City, and believed that the Nine Heaven City would not be defeated by the demons. Many of them even planned to go out to fight, and help the Nine Heaven City repel the demons, which could be because many warriors could earn Shen Yuan Stones, and with the size of the city, many shops were rented, and those who could afford to live were not ordinary people. If the divine city was destroyed, their shops would definitely be affected, and this affected their business, so of course they would have to go out and fight. When Chen Shang came to the city lord's mansion, the last time he saw Wu Kaming, he had obtained a jade tablet that allowed him to enter and exit freely. When he entered one of the halls in the city lord's mansion, he immediately saw a familiar face. Little Knife, Old Pig. Chen Shang was pleasantly surprised. Elder brother Chen Shang. Yun Xiaodao and Zhu Rong were excited to see Chen Shang too. After so many years, they finally met their good friend from back then. Yun Xiaodao was no longer as childish as he was back then. He had become mature and steady, and also became a lot taller. Furthermore, his strength was very strong as well, to the point where he had 5 divine deities. Zhu Rong was the same, plump and harmless fatty. He looked like he had no fighting strength, but his strength was not weak either. Just like Yun Xiaodao, he had 5 divine deity. Old Pig, I didn't expect your cultivation to be the same as Xiaodao's. Remember that he surpassed you in the past. Chen Shang laughed. When can you remember better than me? Other than his eloquent mouth, how can he compare to me in other aspects? Zhu Rong laughed and said. Yun Xiaodao scoffed. Old Pig, you lost to me last time. You should know when to boast, don't boast too much. Zhu Rong laughed. I deliberately lost to you on purpose. Who told your wife to be so powerful? Every time I win against you, she would scold me endlessly. I purposely lost to you because of her. Are you saying that I won against you because I relied on my wife? Yun Xiaodao was very unwilling to accept this. You said so yourself. Zhu Rong laughed, looking like he deserved a slap. Chen Shang could not help but smile. Although so many years had passed, they were still the same as before, constantly bickering over small matters. Alright, let's get down to business. Where did the little baldy go? Chen Shang did not see Wu Kaming. He went to the Nine Heaven School. We are in charge of this place, because the people that came to attack the city are all shrimp soldiers and crab generals. The Nine Heaven School is the best. Yun Xiaodao didn't seem to be slow, because he felt that there wasn't much of a challenge in dealing with this little thing. The timid Zhu Rong, on the other hand, was the opposite. He laughed. That's right, we can easily settle this here. Chen Shang, if you come, it will be even easier. Zhu Rong now felt that he didn't even need to fight anymore. He knew that Chen Shang was definitely very strong. I'm sorry, I only have 3 divine deities right now. Chen Shang purposely smiled bitterly. I was still trying my best, and only managed to cultivate the 3rd divine deity. The place I was previously at has a different time zone compared to your place. However, he still smiled. It's alright, I won't look down on you. But little Yun is different. He must be overjoyed, because he feels that he has 2 more divine deities than you and he can overturn you with one hand. Chen Shang scolded jokingly. Old Pig, this might be what you're thinking in your heart. From what I see, the one feeling overflowing with joy should be you. Yun Xiaodao also laughed. Damn fatty, don't think that elder brother Shen is as stupid as you and wouldn't be able to see through your dirty thoughts. Zhu Rong chuckled. Of course not. Good, we have to formulate a plan to deal with those evil demons. Although the Nine Heaven City has a big array to resist, but those evil demons are constantly attacking the city, making people's hearts in panic. Chen Shang said. There's only the 2 of you. Of course not, just the 2 of them alone won't be able to complete the mission. He was dressed in grey tattered clothes and his face was full of beard, but Chen Shang could still recognize him. Intestines. This person was Duan Sanchang, the little grave robber. There are no tombs here for you to dig. Zhu Rong curled his lips. I don't have a grave to dig, but I can dig a big one for those demons. Duan Sanchang chuckled, came to Chen Zhang's side and patted his arm. Good fellow, you don't look weak. Although you have 3 divine deities, according to your usual explosive strength, your strength should be at least 5, or even 6. Chen Shang laughed out loud. The tomb robbing eye is the best. At this time, another person walked in. Although he was handsome, his eyes were slanted, and it was Xvy Long. Blinded dragon, you've been thrown over as well. Zhu Rong laughed. It's good that you came, that way I won't have to fight anymore. Xvy Long gave Chen Shang a stiff smile, looked at his left arm and said, did I cultivate out bones? I ate a few pieces of bone-level Dan, but I didn't manage to cultivate them. Chen Shang only smiled without saying a word. Yun Xiaodao said, every one of us ate a few pills, but we did not manage to cultivate them. Leader said that we do not have the chance yet, so we will not take the opportunity to start training in bones. Chen Shang felt that his bone-level Dan should be pretty good. Previously, Shui Bingyan had only eaten a few pills to cultivate to the first bones, but Yun Xiaodao and the others had already eaten a few, but they did not. However, the leader has been successfully cultivated. It seems that he only ate 3 pills. Duan Sanchang replied. He has the strength of a god or above, it's easier to cultivate. This bastard is really amazing. He became a god so quickly. Chen Shang sighed at himself for running to super god realm and then running back, missing too much time. Back then he was even stronger than Jiyu Dongchen. Yun Xiaodao said seriously. Elder brother Shen, you are the amazing one, you can even refine bone-level Dan. Zhu Rong and the others all agreed with him. So what if he had 3 divine deity? As long as he could refine a high-level pellet, it would suffice. Chapter 2062. The bone-level Dan that the 9 Heaven School obtained were all refined by Feng Yuji, Hua Shangyu and the others. They provided the 9 Heaven School with bone-level Dan and exchanged it for a lot of resources. The size of the 9 Heaven School was very big, they could easily obtain them for them. The 9 Heaven School knew that had refined the bone-level Dan first, and that the relationship between Chen Shang and the big boss of the 9 Heaven School was very good. Even leader Jiyu Dongchen had to call Chen Shang Junior Master, and it was because of this that LV Kilian and the others would provide the bone-level Dan to the 9 Heaven School, allowing it to become stronger. Chen Shang, you don't need to do anything this time, we can handle this. Xvy Long said very seriously. Let's see, was it really that easy here? I feel that something is amiss. You guys should know that devil-killing Divine City was ambushed previously, you guys should know about this. It is hard to say whether the Hell Devil Emperor has attacked near this Divine City. Chen Shang also had a serious face, the insect eggs near the devil-killing Divine City were not simple objects. He had never checked around 9 Heaven City before, and did not know if there were any, but he knew that there were patrols around 9 Heaven City, and it was unlike the devil-killing Divine City where there was a large amount of evil spirit forced to cultivate bug eggs. I heard that back then, because of this incident, the Fire God, who was in charge of this matter at Hell Devil Emperor, became angry out of embarrassment and threatened to turn devil-killing Divine City into hell. Xvy Long nodded. Chen Shang was about to speak, but his entire body suddenly tensed up as he looked at a corner in the hall with a face full of vigilance. There was actually someone here. Zhu Rong and the others also jumped up from their seats, and when they looked towards the direction that Chen Shang was looking at, they could hear the sound of giggling. Chen Shang is still the best, to be able to find out that I was here, although the few of you guys have more divine deity than Chen Shang, but your reactions were so slow, if I had attacked you guys just now, you would all have been done for it. The person who appeared was a cute girl wearing a blue skirt. Her small and beautiful oval face was filled with a mischievous smile. Lan Lan. Chen Shang was extremely happy, she anxiously walked forward and pinched her cute little face. Lan Lan, you have not grown up yet, for so many years, you are still a little girl. Lan Lan was not convinced, he puffed out her full chest and said, I am just a little short, with a baby face, I am already an adult. The relationship between Chen Shang and Lan Lan was extremely good. Back then, they had experienced danger together and were good friends. Although Lan Lan was older than him, he still treated Chen Shang as a big brother. Just now, Lan Lan had used her extremely unique inherent skill. She could make herself invisible, and the reason why Chen Shang fought against her in the past was because she had hidden herself and beaten him up. That cat girl should also be here, right? Yuan Xiaodao suddenly trembled as he looked around. Every time we meet again after a long time, the two of you always like to scare others. Her body was extremely tough. Back then, Chen Shang had beaten her up, but she was fine, she was as agile as a cat, and when she attacked, she liked to use cat claws. Chen Shang had also interacted with her for a period of time, and had experienced a lot of things. She was taught by the white tiger later on because she was a rare 9 lives demon cat. Yan Yanren was a very charming beauty. When Chen Shang first met her, he was enchanted by her seductive charm. Lan Lan chuckled. She's already here, let's see who can find her. Chen Shang released his spatial sensory domain, but did not discover anyone else present. He pinched Lan Lan's face. Lan Lan, don't tease us on purpose. Yuan Xiaodao also said, little bastard, are you lying to us? The cat girl isn't here, right? She's purposely messing with us. Quote. Zhu Rong laughed. If even Chen Shang did not realize it, then this must be a lie. She isn't here from the start. Lan Lan laughed. Old pig, do you want to take a gamble? If he wants to bet with Chen Shang, he said that the cat girl isn't here. Zhu Rong would never bet with an acquaintance, he would be laughed at if he lost for a while. Duan Sanchang also confirmed the change and said, based on my many years of experience, there shouldn't be anyone hiding here, the cat girl is definitely not here. Are you sure? Do you dare to bet? Lan Lan said with a smile. Although his smile was very sweet and looked very cute, it still gave off a very cunning feeling. Nope. Duan Sanchang only believed in his own scouting methods, but back then in the dragon subduing school, they had worked together with Yan Yanren for a period of time. At that time, Yan Yanren was extremely terrifying and he trained extremely hard, to the point where even the few men present were unable to catch up. After the dragon subduing school was disbanded, Yan Yanren and Lan Lan, who were like sisters, traveled all over the place. It was only after many years did they finally see Lan Lan. After using the Dao Heart Eye, he could see the flow of all sorts of elemental energy in this hall. Originally, it was distributed fairly evenly, but right now it was a little chaotic. I saw her. Chen Shang smiled slightly as he reached out his hand and gently touched a spot next to Lan Lan. He saw that in a flash, a charming woman wearing a red dress appeared. You're still so powerful, how did you discover me? I can use this method to hide from the elders and leaders. Yan Yanren asked with that gentle voice. She looked at Chen Shang with her charming, silky eyes, her eyelashes flickered slightly, as though she was trying to hook Chen Zhang's soul. Chen Shang had touched her beautiful face just now, and he did not move away yet. He gently touched her face, and laughed. It's just because you smell too good, I'm very familiar with the smell of your body. I'm afraid that Chen Shang is the only one who can deal with this cat girl. Zhu Rong said softly. Yuan Xiaodao quickly distanced himself from him, worried that Yan Yanren would attack him head-on. Yan Yanren obviously didn't believe Chen Zhang's nonsense, but she didn't ask too much. She only glanced at Chen Shang with autumn waves in her eyes, and gave him an intoxicating look of gentleness. You have been to the 9 Heaven School. Elder Wu asked you to come. XV Weilong asked. Back then, when the dragon subduing school was still around, Yan Yanren and Lan Lan were specifically responsible for gathering information, and occasionally did some assassination missions. They had all done very well, and now that Wu Kaming had asked them to come, it was probably because he wanted them to do something. Chapter 2063. Yes, he and your leader will be coming soon. Yan Yanren nodded his head, walked to the door, looked at the gray evil chi in the sky outside the city, and sighed. 9 Heaven City and 9 Heaven School face the same danger. The expressions of Yuan Xiaodao and the others changed. If Ji Yu Dongchen and the others were to come personally, then this matter must be very serious. Oh yeah, did you say, your leader, just now? Don't the two of you plan to enter the 9 Heaven School? Zhu Rong asked. We have already joined the Hundreds of Flowers village. Lan Lan laughed. But you can rest assured, now we are here to help you, our village chief will also come. Initially, LV Kilian was very ambitious, she said that she wanted to establish a divine nations. However, her strength was limited now, so she only claimed that she was a village. However, she had developed secretly quickly, and with her dragon fountain, she would definitely become stronger and stronger in the future. Alright, since we are all in the same group, your village chief's parents are all in our 9 Heaven School. Yun Xiaodao said. That Grandma LV is too scary, her 2 daughters are the same. Zhu Rong suddenly shivered. The last time I went to look for her, I only smelled a plate of fruits on her table and almost took my life. Devil suppressing Heavenly Venerable LV Gen and Grandma LV Wers and his parents, and they were currently in the 9 Heaven School as well. After all, the devil killing Heavenly God was there as well and LV Gen could be considered his disciple. Luckily you didn't eat it, otherwise I would never see you again, you bastard. Yun Xiaodao laughed. XV Weilong asked, do you all know the situation outside the city? Didn't you say that the 9 Heaven City was very relaxed? Why are you suddenly paying attention to this? What exactly is the danger? Quote. Yan Yanren said. I'm not too clear either, I just heard from Martial Elder that there are some bugs After Chen Shang heard it, he took a deep breath abruptly. This is troublesome, Hell Devil Emperor really did let this scary thing be born here. I hope it doesn't end up in a miserable state. Because Chen Shang had heard Yue talk about the giant god world being destroyed by the evil worms, he knew about the dangers of those bugs. Is it really that scary? Yun Xiaodao asked. Chen Shang nodded his head. It should be, but the initial stages are easy to deal with, if it's later, then I'll be in trouble. I have to go back and prepare. Yun Xiaodao said. When I went back to get some good equipment, I thought it was just a small matter. Zhu Rong laughed. I also need to prepare, go eat a good meal. Afterwards, the 2 enemies left at the same time. Duan Sanchang and XV Weilong returned to rest and wait for further news. When did you join the Hundreds of Flowers village? Why didn't I see you guys inside? Chen Shang touched the pair of translucent wings that Lan Lan released. They joined very early on, it was Sister Kilian who found us. We were also in the village often, but we just happened to have some matters to attend to. Yan Yanren chuckled, little scoundrel, I didn't think that you would have so many bad things that no one knows about. Chen Shang laughed, don't speak nonsense, this little naughty dragon is discrediting me everywhere. Lan Lan laughed, I actually think that you, elder brother Shen, are very powerful. Those powerful older sisters all seem to have a good relationship with you. Chen Shang laughed, aren't you guys on good terms with me too? Yan Yanren and Lan Lan were both very clear that the reason the outstanding women in the Hundreds of Flowers village were able to gather together was mostly because of Chen Shang, and why they were able to become so strong, was also because they needed Chen Zhang's help. We are going back, Sister Kilian said that she will be here soon. Yan Yanren said. Return to the Hundreds of Flowers village? Chen Shang asked. Of course not, we have a shop here, and 100 Flowers Pavilion is our shop. Do you want to take a look? If Sister Kilian comes, she will also be sent to the secret teleportation room of 100 Flowers Pavilion. Yan Yanren said. Let's go. Chen Shang followed Lan Lan and Yan Yanren as they left the city lord's mansion, and soon arrived at the 100 Flowers Pavilion. The size of the 100 Flowers Pavilion was extremely large, with over a dozen large pavilions and more than 10 stories tall. Here, not only were pills sold, but there were also divine weapons and magical equipment. There were even array discs here. Business is not bad. Chen Shang followed them to a guest hall. This should be their private place. It was very quiet and cozy. The hall was filled with a faint female body scent. Sister Violet Orchid must have been here often. Chen Shang could feel it from the remaining fragrance in the air. Dog knows. Lan Lan laughed. Did you really sniff out Big Sister Yanren's scent? Yan Yanren poured Chen Shang a cup of tea and was extremely curious. Definitely not, I've already hidden my smell. Chen Shang took a sip of that fragrant tea and laughed. That was what I saw with my own eyes. I had seen all the various types of gaseous energies in the hall at that time, and only the divine energy that was flowing around where you were standing wasn't natural enough. Your method of concealment should be through invisibility and the release of divine energy from your body. This way, you will be able to blend into nature and it will be difficult to discover you. Chen Shang said. Not bad, your mind's eye is really powerful. You can actually see it. Yan Yanren had also gained a lot. Although not many people would be able to use Dao Heart Eye in the future to improve herself, she had to pursue perfection. If I wasn't a little more careful, I'm afraid I wouldn't have been able to discover you. Your ability to conceal yourself is already very strong. Chen Shang said, if you can increase your spatial power, isolating yourself from space, then you'll be able to conceal yourself very well. Using the power of space is easier said than done. I've tried. Although I can use it, I can't use it freely. Yan Yanren shook his head and sighed. You will in the future. When you return to the Hundreds of Flowers village, find Yuer and she will teach you. She is very proficient in this aspect. Chen Shang laughed. Furthermore, you are all cats, we will definitely get along well. Yes, I heard Sister Feng talk about Yuer. Yan Yanren nodded. Cute little white cat, I really want to go back and see her. Lan Lan really wanted to return right now. Seeing her expression, Chen Shang laughed. You are also very cute, you big elf. Now that a group of little elves from Hundreds of Flowers village have wings like yours, you can go back and play with them. Quote. Yan Zilan, who was wearing a white dress, suddenly walked in and saw Chen Shang and the others chatting. Sister Zilan, you don't look nervous either. Lan Lan walked over, held her jade hand, and asked, what is the situation outside? Is it serious? Quote. Don't worry, the defensive power of the formations on the Nine Heaven City is very strong, and with the support of the dragon veins, they can at least hold on for over 100 years. Those group of devil army do not have enough resources, so they will not last long. Yan Zilan looked at Chen Shang, and this matter was the latest discovery of Chen Zhang's. After Yue told everyone about the origins of the evil worms, she had already spread them around, telling everyone to pay attention. Chapter 2064. LV Kilian came over, and the moment she entered the shop, Chen Shang immediately felt her chi. She seemed to be in a hurry as soon as she entered the store. You're here too, LV Kilian said the moment he saw Chen Shang. Sister Kilian, is there something important? You look like you're in a hurry. Chen Shang felt that LV Kilian seemed to have something very urgent to do, and furthermore, he seemed to be rather happy that he had appeared here. LV Kilian nodded his head and said, right now, we already have information on those evil insects. The information we have gathered is that the evil insects all have a queen, and this queen has only recently nurtured it for a short period of time. Furthermore, a large number of evil insect eggs will be born every day, just like ants and bees. So how many bugs are there now? Yan Zilan asked anxiously. If there was a large group of evil insects, then it would be hard to imagine. I only found 5, it's not easy for Hell Devil Emperor to cultivate these 5 bugs. Previously, there were 10 outside of devil-killing Divine City, which he had been raising for a long time. After LV Kilian sat down, Yan Yanren had already brought her a cup of tea. LV Kilian took a sip and continued. Right now, there are 3 that are near the Nine Heaven City, and the other one is with the Nine Heaven School. These evil insects are all very strong, so they must have been born a long time ago. Looks like all of these demonic insects are controlled by the Hell Devil Emperor, otherwise, they would definitely not be obedient. Chen Shang frowned. Looks like their main target this time is the Nine Heaven City. LV Kilian said. It is not controlled by the Hell Devil Emperor, but by a mysterious power behind the Hell Devil Emperor. Previously, we had always thought that the Hell Devil Emperor had been abandoned by the other divine nations because they knew the Nine Heaven World's potential. If the Nine Heaven World consumes the Super God realm, then the Hell Devil Emperor will definitely be in charge of suppressing us at that time. Quote. Don't worry, there's still the Heavenly Divine Lord. Great Divine Lord and the rest should have already gone into hiding, and their target should be those divine nations. Chen Shang said. Yan Zilan asked. Sister Kilian, how did you suddenly know about this? Our spies shouldn't be able to find out about these things, and the Nine Heaven Schools aren't good either. It's clear that only the people hiding in the depths of hell would know about it, and their positions aren't low either. LV Kilian nodded his head. Indeed, it wasn't us who investigated about it, but a force called Futian School who provided it to us. Ji Yu Dongchen, Ren Tianyang and the others were also present at that time. Futian School. I have heard that this is a very well-hidden sect, and it has been developing in secret for a long time. Yan Yanren suddenly said. She looked at Lan Lan, who also nodded. After Dragon Subduing School was disbanded that year, Yanren and I traveled all over the place and heard about this Futian School. Lan Lan frowned slightly, but the impression this Futian School gives us is not very good. LV Kilian immediately asked. What do you mean? Ji Yu Dongchen, Ren Tianyang and the rest do not know anything about this sect, much less me. Quote. Yan Yanren lightly snorted. Then the cultivation method Futian School's cultivate is a. When Lan Lan and I first passed that small city, nearly half of the women inside harbored hatred towards that leader, and the men of the small city hated the fact that they couldn't wait to kill that leader. Quote. Lan Lan also said angrily. We just arrived at the small city, but somehow the news spread out. We were invited by a group of people to the Futian School, all day long. After knowing about this, we wanted to teach that leader a lesson, but who would have thought that the leader and a group of elders were all very strong. We are no match for him, so we can only leave. After Lan Lan and I increased our strength, we found out that the Futian school was missing, and that the small city beside the Futian school was also destroyed. Yan Yanran said, "That leader is so hateful, they are definitely not some good stuff." Chen Shang laughed. "Chief Beauty Village head, you have to be careful of that guy." LV Kilian rolled her eyes at him. "You should pay attention to him." "Sister Kilian, did you see that fellow being leader?" Lan Lan said. "I heard that he has a very young appearance." "Not the leader, he said he's the son of the Futian school. I don't know how he found out about my hundreds of flowers villages matter, but he repeatedly mentioned that he wanted to come in and take a seat, and even said that he wanted to give us a big gift." LV Kilian glanced at Chen Shang. "Up till now, there is only one man who has entered our hundreds of flowers village." "What an honor." Chen Shang laughed. Although Long Shui and the others would always tease Chen Shang about how bad he was as a little kid, they knew very well what Chen Zhang's bottom line was. "Kilian, Kilian, are you here?" A weak shout came from outside the window. The voice was very familiar. Wei Shan. After LV Kilian recognized the voice, he immediately sent a sound transmission to the people below, asking them to bring Long Huishan up. "It's Big Sis Long." Chen Shang was a little excited. "I haven't seen her for a long time. Haven't you been with her all these years?" "No." After the Ice Dragon returned, Ice Dragon Race handed it over to the Ice Dragon. She and Lingling also frequently went into seclusion to cultivate. According to what I know, the Ice Dragon is the one that found a vein of ice, and its entire Ice Dragon race is there. Of course, we have often provided them with medicinal pills over the years, and they would also provide us with quite a few ice-cold medicinal herbs and refining materials. Yan Zilan said. She had always been in charge of this kind of exchange. LV Kilian said, Yulan and Chenxiang still have some peace and quiet as they frequently go to look for them. A few years ago, I got Yulan and the others to help me deliver a message, and asked her if she and Lingling were willing to come to Hundreds of Flowers village. We also have a dragon vein here, and the formation plate Shenxian and the others refined can also convert the dragon vein's energy into ice attribute. Quote. Long Huishan was led up by a young lady. She was dressed simply and wore a bamboo hat. The first time Chen Shang had met Long Huishan, she was a gentle and beautiful woman. After receiving the inheritance of the ice dragon, with a shake of her body, she transformed into a mighty and domineering female dragon king. Right now, she was much stronger than before. She hadn't even put on the dragon armor, so she already looked quite powerful. Big Sis Long A, Chen Shang anxiously stood up and walked over. At this time, he also noticed Shen Lingling behind Long Huishan. The little girl was already very pitiful at first, but Chen Shang felt that it was fated for him to help her, and even accepted her as his recognized sister. After being nurtured by Long Huishan, she had already escaped from that tragic fate. Brother. Seeing Chen Shang coming over, Shen Lingling screamed excitedly and threw herself into Chen Zhang's embrace, sobbing. It could be seen that she missed Chen Shang a lot. Chapter 2065, Lingling, you have become stronger. Chen Shang rubbed her head and looked at her mature and beautiful face. In the past, when she was still very young, Chen Shang would often be busy outside, and she would also undergo closed-door cultivation all day. It had been many years since they last met. The Shen Lingling after growing up had a very charming face, but although she was charming, she was not like the enchantress Su Meiyao, Hua Shangyu, and Yan Yanran. With every frown and smile, her every action was extremely charming, captivating people's hearts. Shen Lingling was different from the rest. It's been so long since we last met, Lingling has also become a little beauty. She nodded towards Long Huishan. Back then, she had also helped Long Huishan to manage his business for a period of time, so the two of them were very familiar with each other. Damn brat, you are always running all over the place. Why aren't you coming back to see me and your little sisters? Long Huishan mercilessly hit Chen Zhang's head. You, Lingling, are already so old, but I've never seen you do it a few times. All you know is that you've been stuffed in my place. Yan Yanran walked to Shen Lingling's side, caressed her face and smiled seductively. Lingling is a beauty that can seduce all living things now, and her strength seems to be not bad either. Lan Lan was a little envious. She pouted and said, why can't I grow up? Back then, Lingling was only slightly taller than me. As Shen Lingling and Yan Yanran stood together, and wore the same bright red cheongsam, it made them seem even more charming and gorgeous. Walking on the street just like that, it must have been very eye-catching, especially under circumstances where they were equally charming, but gave off a completely different feeling to others. It was even more eye-catching. Sister Lan Lan, this is also very good. Shen Lingling was naive and innocent, but she had a charming face that could bring calamity to a nation. She always felt that this would be more eye-catching, and she did not like it. Wei Shan, have you decided to stay with us? LV Kilian asked. Yulan and the others should have told you guys before. After all, Yulan and the others are all there. However, the Ice Dragon ancestor needed some time to teach me the things he could teach. When Long Huishan sat down, he leaned forward and grabbed a fruit by the side and began to eat. Frozen Dragon ancestor originally planned to go to Super God Realm, but when he heard that Chen Shang had returned, he did not go as well. He had mentioned to me earlier that Heavenly Divine Lord's Great Divine Lord was summoning him. Back then, the Ice Dragon had received Chen Zhang's great help to awaken its memories, allowing it to shake off the God of Fortune's bondage. Thus, when he found out that Chen Lingling and Long Huishan were sisters that had been sworn brothers of Chen Shang, they took special care of them and gave them everything they had. We are going to the City Lord's mansion for a meeting later. Chen Shang, you and Wei Shan will follow me, you guys stay here, the Fu Tian school will also participate. LV Kilian said. Lingling, you can return to the Hundreds of Flowers village with Purple Orchid first and familiarize yourself with the environment inside. The battles here aren't suitable for you. Shen Lingling nodded. She stood up on her tiptoes and kissed Chen Shang on the cheek, then followed Yan Zilan and left. Truly a good little sister. Yulan and Chen Xiang, these two wild girls, think of defeating me every day. Chen Shang touched the place where Shen Lingling kissed, and laughed. Yanren, Lan Lan, you guys will be in charge of collecting information related to the Fu Tian school. A large group of people will be coming here, so it's impossible for them to all go to the City Lord's mansion for meetings. LV Kilian warned them, you must be careful of them. If anything goes wrong, run back to the 100 Flowers Pavilion. Yan Yanren had experienced Yan Yanren's and his concealed abilities before, but she herself was unable to see through it. Furthermore, the few big shots of Nine Heaven School had also tested it, but it still wasn't working, and only Chen Shang was able to do it. Now let's go, Wei Shan. I will tell you some important things on the way, so that you can understand the situation. LV Kilian felt that the Fu Tian school had other purposes. If their current leader was really the one that Yan Yanren and Lan Lan met, then the Fu Tian school would definitely not be a good person. LV Kilian brought Chen Shang and the others and walked onto a caravan. This carriage did not have a horse to drag, but it could move by itself, its speed could also be fast, and it could even fly outside. This car is so nice, and it has such a big bed. After Chen Shang climbed up, the room was very big. There was a bed and a low table, the floor was covered with a snow-white soft fur, the decorations were very beautiful, and Chen Shang was rolling around on top of it. This carriage was about the same size as the carriage, but its interior was about the size of a hall. It was arranged using spatial runes. Brat, be more honest. This is Kilian's chariot, it's not a dog's nest. When Long Huishan saw Chen Shang rolling around impolitely to lie on LV Kilian's bed, she felt that he must be enduring his anger. Chen Shang laughed. She will not mind, right Sister Kilian? Of course, she wouldn't mind. She and Chen Shang had already passed many sweet dreams, and her heart had long been conquered by Chen Shang. If Long Huishan wasn't here, she would have been sweet and intimate with him. Big Sister Wei Shan, don't you feel that you're a bit in the way here? Chen Shang snorted, his face filled with a dubious expression. LV Kilian glared at Chen Shang, her face turning slightly red. Only now did Long Huishan finally understand. She did not expect LV Kilian to be so close to Chen Shang. Brat, alright, you've even taken care of Kilian, you're amazing. Long Huishan praised her wholeheartedly, but she also knew about Chen Zhang's playfulness. How is it amazing? If I can deal with Big Sister Wei Shan, that would be amazing. Chen Shang laughed sinisterly. Long Huishan laughed and said to LV Kilian, Kilian, aren't you going to do something now? Your man is teasing me. Chen Shang laughed and said, originally, I wanted to do something with me, but since you are here cough, cough. You can completely ignore me. You don't have to care about what I feel. You can do whatever you want with me. Just as Long Huishan finished speaking, she regretted it. She did not expect Chen Shang to suddenly flash and appear by his side. The moment LV Kilian saw Chen Shang coming over, she threw herself onto the soft carpet, and her sandalwood mouth was violently blocked by Chen Shang. Although her body was struggling, for some reason, her power had started to gradually weaken, and after that she had obeyed Chen Shang and kissed him in front of Long Huishan. Long Huishan scoffed, "This little bastard is getting more and more presumptuous. If there's a chance, I'll teach him a lesson." She had seen a big scene before, but she had never seen this scene of a man and woman kissing passionately before. Chapter 2066. We're here. Long Huishan strongly patted Chen Zhang's back. All along the way, she kept looking at them, but since LV Kilian was unwilling, it was obvious that Chen Shang had done it on purpose to make her look bad. Thinking of this, Long Huishan became even more furious. Humph! LV Kilian pushed Chen Shang away and gently wiped her red lips with the back of her hand. Her cheeks were red and bashful, as she did not dare to look at Long Huishan directly. "Let's go, it's no big deal." Long Huishan chuckled and helped LV Kilian tidy up his clothes that had been messed up by Chen Shang, then got off the car with her first. Chen Shang licked his lips and laughed as he followed behind them. Once he got out of the car, LV Kilian regained the aura of a female superior, which was a huge difference from her previous bashful and flirtatious attitude. After entering the city lord's mansion, LV Kilian brought Long Huishan and the others into a secret meeting room. There were already a lot of people inside. Most of these people were people that Chen Shang was very familiar with, such as Ji Yu Dongchen, devil-killing heavenly god and penalty heavenly god. These were all old acquaintances of Chen Shang. There were only two people here whom Chen Shang did not know, a handsome man in white and a tall, powerful, one-eyed man. Once Chen Shang came in, he paid attention to the two people. He noticed that when Long Huishan and LV Kilian came in, the man in white clothes' eyes lit up, and Chen Shang was sure that the man in white was the son of Fu Tian's school. "Miss Long, are you here on behalf of the Ice Dragon race?" Ji Yu Dongchen said with a smile. Of course they knew that the Ice Dragon had returned, and it even possessed extraordinary strength. It occupied the Dragon Vein, and was an extremely powerful force in the entire Ice Dragon race. "No, I have already joined the Hundreds of Flowers village." Long Huishan also returned the greeting with a smile, and then sat down. The white-clothed man stood up and smiled. "I am an elder of the Fu Tian school. As my father is a leader, he has a lot of things to do, so he cannot come." Everyone nodded their heads, indicating that they understood. Other than Chen Shang and Long Huishan, everyone else had a good impression of this man in white, because he was extremely polite and polite. This must be a famous female dragon king of the Ice Dragon race. "I am Fu Tiangao, and am honored to meet you." The white-clothed man cupped his hands towards Long Huishan. Long Huishan only nodded his head, his expression indifferent. For Lady Lu to be able to obtain such a great general like female dragon king, your Hundreds of Flowers village will definitely become more powerful in the future. This is truly a cause for celebration. Fu Tiangao said to LV Kilian. Everyone could see that Fu Tiangao had other motives towards LV Kilian and Long Huishan, because even though they had been in the sect for a long time, they had not seen this brat flattering them like this. "Right, who is this brother that came in with you?" Fu Tiangao looked at Chen Shang. Although he had an extremely amiable smile on his face, Chen Shang could catch an extremely strong hostility in his eyes. Chen Shang said indifferently, then sat down right beside LV Kilian. One glance was enough to tell that his relationship with LV Kilian was pretty good. "So it's the once famous Chen Shang, I've heard a lot about him." Fu Tiangao saw that Chen Shang was very casually sitting at the seat beside LV Kilian, and he was a little jealous. He said, "All of us are here today to represent a certain force. He can represent my Nine Heaven School. There's also the devil-killing Divine City." Ji Yu Dongchen and Ren Tianyang immediately expressed their intentions. They were telling Fu Tiangao to understand his position here. Fu Tiangao immediately smiled apologetically, as expected of a famous person, amazing, admiring. Fu Tiangao had just suffered a setback and felt even more unwell in his heart. Just as he sat down, LV Kilian said, "Chen Shang can also represent my Hundreds of Flowers village." Ji Yu Dongchen and the others were secretly laughing in their hearts. That group of terrifying women in the Hundreds of Flowers village were basically all very close to Chen Shang, so of course Chen Shang could represent the Hundreds of Flowers village. Brother Shen is truly worthy of my admiration. Fu Tiangao still had a gentle smile on his face, but he was bleeding with hatred in his heart. He did not expect Chen Shang and LV Kilian's relationship to be so good, and knew that they had also entered the Hundreds of Flowers village before. For someone like him who trained in the Yang recovery art, the Hundreds of Flowers village was a sacred place to him. Which one of the girls inside wasn't talented and outstanding, and if he could get them, not only would he be able to improve his cultivation, but he would also be able to satisfy his desire to conquer her. However, right now, someone had already beat him to it, which was why Fu Tianguo hated Chen Shang so much. Of course, Chen Zhang's status also made him jealous. Young Master Fu, how much do you know about those evil insects? Do you know their weaknesses? Ji Yudongchen asked, because Fu Tian's school could be considered a rather strong sect, as long as they were not enemies, they could be allied with them, having more people and more strength. Fu Tianguo said, for the time being, we don't know. There are disciples hiding in the underworld sect who only know about the evil insects. The news that we just received was that there are still some in the underworld sect, and these evil insects are all under the control of the Hell Devil Emperor. However, the Hell Devil Emperor only has temporary control, and the one who can control the evil insects in the end is the mysterious divine nations. Quote, but everyone, don't worry, the insects that are attacking are all in the first batch, they're not very strong. If the insect army wanted to be strong, then they had to have a lot of strength first. The queen bug was newly born, so the first batch that the queen bug produced was very weak. What we need to do now is to kill the queen bug and kill her. The queen bug will die and the other demonic insects will commit suicide in despair because the queen bug has a huge mental impact on them. Those evil insects were born by the insect queen, so the thought that they imparted to the insect queen was that she was alive. Quote, the devil-killing heavenly god asked, if the insect queen wants to become stronger, does it mean that she has to rely on these demonic insects to bring her strength to them? Fu Tianguo nodded. Yes, the evil insects will go out to hunt and absorb the blood and energy of humans or beasts. They will condense a type of evil bead, and after it is formed, it will be fed to the queen bug. The insect queen eats a large amount of evil beads and becomes stronger continuously. The stronger the insect queen is, the faster she can lay her eggs, and the more powerful the demonic insect will be when she grows up. Quote, Chen Shang and the others understood why Yue said that a powerful giant god world would be destroyed by these evil worms. Once the insect had grown to a certain level, it would be very difficult to control. Do you know where the queen bug is now? Wu Kaming asked. If we knew, we would have immediately gotten rid of the insect. Of course, the thing that worries us the most are the bugs secretly raised by the Hell Devil Emperor. This is the greatest threat. Quote, Chen Shang really wanted to know which divine nations raised this thing, they were simply playing with fire. If they really lost control of these insects, then that would be playing with fire. Chapter 2067. The information that Fu Tianguo provided was not important at all. They were all ordinary information, and could only be used to kill bugs. But now, they had to know where the bug queen was hiding before they could kill it. Everyone, don't worry, the disciples of our Fu Tian school will be able to find the location of the queen very soon. When that time comes, we will work together and definitely kill a few of them. Fu Tianguo laughed. Right now, I wonder if we can arrange for the disciples of our Fu Tian school to be transferred over. The 9 Heaven Cities transmission array had already been closed and could not be transferred in. We, the Fu Tian school, have already selected 3,000 elite disciples to lend a hand. We wish to express the sincerity of our Fu Tian school, and we truly wish to ally with everyone to eliminate this evil demon that is a scourge to the common people. Fu Tianguo stood up and said seriously. Wu Kaming nodded his head, we will think about it again. If we want to open the transmission array, it will take a few days, and it won't be activated that quickly. The transmission array that we receive is very special, it needs to penetrate the Great City Barrier Formation. Understandable. If you have made a decision, please inform this one and I will contact my father immediately. When the time comes, I will ask him to send some more disciples over, and when I arrived at 9 Heaven City, I found out that the situation here was much worse than what I had expected. Fu Tianguo nodded and sat down, then smiled at LV Kilian. Miss La One Quarter, I wonder what plans your Hundreds of Flowers village has for the battle at that time. It hasn't been decided yet. LV Kilian replied a little flatly. What about the seniors? Fu Tianguo looked towards Ji Yudongchen and the others. Our 9 Heaven School has already sent an elite team over. When the time comes, they will bring 10,000 of their elite disciples to assassinate the night sky, reducing the number of evil beings. Ji Yudongchen replied. Devil-killing Divine City will cast a long-ranged spell on the city walls to attack the approaching demon army. Ren Tianyang said. Devil-killing heavenly god looked at penalty heavenly god and said, the punishment will be infiltrating the demon army and killing their leaders. Fu Tianggao nodded, it's all good strategies. I will use my secret treasure to contact the disciples hiding in the underworld sect now. Everyone in the meeting room stood up. Although they did not understand Fu Tianggao, but they still needed to be courteous. Fu Tianggao anxiously left the city lord's mansion. He brought a few people with him and stayed at the nearest inn. After Fu Tianggao, Chen Shang said, how can you guys say the plan of action? Devil-killing heavenly god laughed, that was nonsense. Ji Yu Dongchen also laughed. I was just casually saying it, how can this kind of plan be known by someone who is half a lifetime away? God knows he wasn't arranged by the Hell Devil Emperor. Quote. The penalty heavenly god said, we definitely can't open the teleportation channel to let the disciples of the Fu Tian school come here. I don't trust this guy. To talk about things that are not worth talking about. Quote. The people sitting here were all sly old foxes, and it wasn't easy to fool them. Seems like this guy is here for my hundreds of flowers village. LV Kilian said, you all didn't feel it, that guy seemed to want to eat me alive. Wu Kaming chuckled. Junior Master, you don't seem to be satisfied with this guy. It's the first time you've met, but he hasn't offended you yet. Could it be A? Wu Kaming gave LV Kilian an ambiguous look, as if everyone present could see through their relationship. Although LV Kilian looked clean and pure, and had some conflicts with him in the past, but after reconciling with him, Wu Kaming started to interact more and more, and now that they were here together, their relationship could even be seen to the extent where their eyes were blind. It wasn't there in the beginning, but Yanran and Lan Lan mentioned some terrible things about the Fu Tian school. Chen Shang told her what Yanran and Lan Lan had learned from the Fu Tian school back then. Penalty heavenly god said, I have heard of such a cultivation technique. If the Fu Tian school wants to join hands with us, it should be the leader himself, but I keep on having the feeling that he doesn't dare to come and that those excuses are insufficient. Quote. Devil-killing heavenly god took a deep breath, from what you said, it is possible that you know Fu Tian school's leader. And he's afraid of you. Quote. Yes, back then I personally went to chase down a person who specialized in cultivating this method. This has caused a lot of harm to a lot of women, and coincidentally, I went to a city to find out about this. I fought with him before, and he's very strong, so the power he uses is also very strange. He was seriously injured by me, but I didn't catch him. The penalty heavenly god said. Chen Shang said, someone that even the penalty heavenly god cannot catch, he must be very cunning. Ji Yu Dongchen laughed, the punishment now is too godly. No worries, I still prefer the name penalty heavenly god. After all, he has been called for too long, I can't even remember my own name. Penalty heavenly god laughed. Devil-killing heavenly god asked, punishment, you have hunted that guy for a period of time, you should know him well, right? Penalty heavenly god nodded. Not only him, I also have a deep understanding of his cultivation technique. Hearing Chen Shang say that, I also feel that they are here for the hundreds of flowers village, they have already reached a bottleneck in their cultivation and the weak girls are no longer able to satisfy them. Thus, they needed to find an even more outstanding and powerful woman. This martial art is very strange. The woman who gets her yin qi from her body is like someone who is poisoned. She will die from the poison in her later years. She will die miserably. LV Kilian frowned, his anger rising. If the situation is true, I will personally kill this group of beasts that are inferior to me. Now you're actually targeting us. Now, let's see how Yanran and Lan Lan are doing. Just as Chen Shang finished speaking, LV Kilian took out the trembling jade talisman, someone had sent a message to him. It's Yanran, I didn't expect her to have an outcome so soon. LV Kilian said, Elder Wu, they are outside. Wu Kaming opened the door and walked out, bringing Yanran and Lan Lan in. After the two girls came in, they paid their respects to the senior here. You two little girls, don't be so polite, sit down. Back then, Ji Yu Dongchen was also in the dragon subduing school, so he was very clear about Yanran's and Lan Lan's abilities. This group of people are really not good people. As soon as they arrived in this city, they locked onto a few powerful women. They were planning to attack, and one of them was from our 100 Flowers Hall. Yanran was extremely angry. Their main target is our Hundreds of Flowers village. They plan to give us a large amount of precious divine medicine as a gift, in order to obtain our good impression and then slowly pull us closer. Chen Shang was also very angry. My god, we definitely can't let this brat die too easily. Chapter 2068. Fu Tian's school's scheme was already very obvious, but Chen Shang and the others felt that other than this, Fu Tian's school must have other motives. They definitely did not find out that the Fu Tian school was able to obtain information related to the evil worms. Ji Yu Dongchen said, now we already know that the Fu Tian school has ill intentions. On the surface, he wants to ally with us, but he secretly wants to harm us. The devil-killing heavenly god snorted. Don't even think about it, they definitely have an alliance with the underworld sect. The reason they told us this kind of news is to gain our trust, then when it's more or less time, they will scheme a bit more, and catch all of us Nine Heaven School and us, the Nine Heaven School, in one fell swoop, and then they can deal with the hundreds of flowers village as well. Penalty Heavenly God said, what a good plan. Wouldn't it be too easy for them if it was just to kill the fellows here? Quote, Fu Tianggao still didn't know that he had angered these old cunning foxes, and it wasn't as simple as him dying in anger. Ji Yu Dongchen said, let's do it, didn't they say they want to send a group of elite disciples? I didn't believe him before, but now I do. Quote, LV Kilian said coldly, that group of elite disciples should have already reached the bottleneck, they are here to look for cultivation resources. The Fu Tian school's so-called resources for cultivation were to use their evil techniques to obtain strength by gathering yang and replenishing yin. I support the GU leader's strategy of letting them send the so-called elite disciples over, and then we'll kill them. The condition is that we have to ensure that the people they teleported to us do not cause any harm to this place. Otherwise, this place would be a little dangerous. Long Huishan said. Devil-killing heavenly god nodded his head, that is indeed the case, but don't worry about that. We can set up a powerful killing array in advance, and when the time comes, we can just place a transmission array plate inside the killing array for them to teleport in, and then we can eliminate them in one fell swoop. Chen Shang said, Hell Devil Emperor knows that we can't force our way out, so we decided to use a clever method. Fortunately, they didn't succeed. I'm in charge of communicating with him. Let him think that we have already trusted him. Wu Kaming said. I'll go back and get the killing formation. LV Kilian said. She hated this Fu Tian school very much. We will be prepared to welcome the Fu Tian school when the time comes. Ji Yu Dongchen laughed. I haven't started a massacre in a long time. Since everyone has something to do, I can't stay idle either. I will be in charge of investigating the position of the queen bug and also see if I can kill these bugs. Chen Shang said, although his cultivation was not high, but the big heads here all did not doubt his strength, especially his detection and concealment skills. LV Kilian said, why don't you let Yanran and Lan Lan go with you? No need, they still need to keep an eye on that Fu Tianggao here, I can go there myself. Chen Shang said. Alright, then let's begin. Wu Kaming said and then dispersed. Chen Shang did not move. He wanted LV Kilian to notify hundreds of Flowers Village and ask UAA to come over. He wanted to move together with UAA. Yan Zilan brought UAA over, gently and worriedly warned Chen Shang to be careful, and even kissed her cheeks. Chen Shang used a secret array inside the city lord's mansion to teleport to a place outside that did not have any evil demons. This was originally a dense forest, but after being passed by the evil demons, it had turned into a forest filled with endless death aura. If you encounter a sudden danger, what would you do? Chen Shang wanted to communicate with UAA about the use of spatial energy. When UAA was in danger, most of her time was spent relying on her spatial energy. If I didn't awaken my memories in the past, I would have used long-distance teleportation to escape. But now, when I use spatial escape to hide myself in other spatial faults, the ancestors who didn't use their spatial powers won't be able to find me. UAA smiled. So, when you use your transformation technique, you don't have to worry about me. I can hide at any time. Furthermore, her own foundation was very solid as well, and her entire family was extremely terrifying. She seemed to have inherited the inheritance of her family, which was why Chen Shang felt that she would definitely become an extremely terrifying person in the future. Other than using spatial escape, I can also use the space wind. As she spoke, UAA suddenly disappeared. When she reappeared, UAA was already in front of them. There is a difference between this and teleportation. Only by being extremely sensitive to spatial energy will I be able to sense the space wind. Just now, I followed the space wind and floated forward, and didn't even need any spatial energy at all to let the space wind take me running, allowing me to travel for a long distance in space. Yue had thought that Chen Shang had used spatial energy extremely well, but she later found out that Chen Shang didn't even have a spatial technique. Hence, she felt that it was necessary to guide Chen Shang in using his spatial energy. Yue carefully guided Chen Shang in the use of these spatial arts. The star-shifting technique that Chen Shang taught her already had a certain amount of foundation, and she was able to easily learn it now. In the past, he had used a similar method of spatial escape, however, he had hidden in the tyrannical spatial turbulence. In the past, he had used a similar method of spatial escape, however, he had hid in the tyrannical spatial turbulence, which had hidden in the tyrannical spatial turbulence. As for spatial escape, it was the most stable place in both space and space. UAA was simply like a fault or crack, as long as one could control it well, they could instantly find it and then hide inside it. This space wind is pretty good to use. Chen Shang spent more than half a day's time to learn how to use the space wind. With just a thought, he discovered that his body could be merged with the space wind and moved quickly by a surge of energy. This way, when you run, you can just directly use the space wind. You don't need to continuously teleport to move fast. UAA smiled and replied, although the speed will be a little slower. Right now, Chen Shang was using the space wind with Chen Shang, and in the blink of an eye, they had already distanced themselves from the forest. Chen Shang could only see the scenery on both sides of him flashing rapidly to the back, and he couldn't see anything at all. After leaving the forest, Chen Shang quickly arrived at the top of a barren mountain, and looked at the demonic army that was densely covered in black clouds. Do you know the characteristics of that insect? How do we find the bugs? This thing is the biggest threat, Chen Shang said. After a moment of silence, replied, I can't ask now, but I can only find out at night. At night, the light of the stars and moon can reach the earth, and as long as the insect is hit by it, or if it is just a breath of air, I can find it. Chapter 2069. UAA's ability to communicate with Xingyu really made Chen Shang jealous. He had asked UAA if she could learn this skill, and UAA had said that this skill was innate, even if it was in the Star Moon Divine Race S, no one would know of this skill. The demon army did not attack the city, and the ones leading them should be the Hell Devil Emperor and the rest. They were very clear about the 9 Heaven City's defensive power, and they were currently guarding the city gate, obviously waiting for the moment the city's defenses were broken. Dusk fell, the sky had turned dark, and the demon army seemed to be extremely excited. They hated the feeling of the sun shining down on them during the day, so when they crowded together, they would release some dark energy to protect themselves from the sun's rays. As the sky gradually darkened, the demon army in front became more and more spirited, noisy. These evil demons all looked like humans, but they were all clad in beast skins, looking tall and powerful. These guys aren't idiots who are controlled. They actually know how to chat and laugh. Don't tell me that they were transformed by humans. Chen Shang had seen the army of the Hell Devil Emperor before. They were all raised by him in the infernal realm and used a large amount of undead energy. But now, he lacked the resources. If so many of these armies were cultivated by humans, then he would need to carry out a great slaughter and obtain a large amount of power from the bodies of the dead. Evil devil cultivators' way of doing things was to massacre them, and after that, the souls and bodies of the dead would be of great help to them. But now that the 9 Heaven world had annexed the gods' realm, the number of humans was very large, especially the weak humans. For the evil demons, this was a very rich source of cultivation resources. After all, there are so many humans and there are definitely many scum. And since the Hell Devil Emperor has provided them with a shortcut cultivation technique, they will naturally follow the Hell Devil Emperor. This kind of fellow who obtained power through killing innocent people must be exterminated. UAA said, You 9 Heaven world will have to prevent this guy from appearing on a large scale in the future because of your prosperity. Back then, our Star Law Divine Realm also appeared once. Speaking of Star Law Divine Realm she had trusted before, UAA couldn't help but sigh. Star Law Divine Realm's top ranker who wanted to live forever, to find a reason to persecute undead divine race, was no different from these demons in front of her. The only difference was that this group of evil demons was weak, while the group of evil demons in Star Law Divine Realm were very strong. After dark, the sky was filled with stars. UAA began to communicate with the stars and the moon. It took her a full 4 hours before she discovered something. I found it. The nearest bug queen is still some distance away, let's go take a look now. Yue said as she sneaked into Chen Zhang's backpack. After Chen Shang sensed the direction of the wind, he immediately used the space wind and headed towards the location of the nearest insect empress. Not long after, Chen Shang arrived at a mountain range. He was hiding at the top of a mountain peak, making him feel that this mountain range was brimming with vitality. Is that it? Chen Shang was at the top of a mountain, and he could clearly see the several large mountains in the middle surrounding it. There was a huge pit there, and when he told Divine Soul to go over to take a look, he could not see the bottom of it. Yes, the queen bug hid in the ground. She dug this pit herself. The queen bug's body was very large, like a mountain, Moonchild said. The deep pit that Chen Shang saw was even larger than the mountains around him. Furthermore, it was so deep that he couldn't even see the bottom of it. Looks like I have to explore deeper. I wonder if it will be dangerous if I get close to the insect. The purpose of Chen Zhang's visit was to find out the position of the insect queen, and then to estimate her strength. It's best not to get too close. The bug queen has a large body. Although moving is inconvenient, its defensive and offensive power is extremely strong. The insect empress didn't want to be disturbed by humans, so there are no Hell Devil Emperor people guarding this place. As long as she senses even a trace of human aura, she will be angry. Yue said, try exposing your aura if you don't believe me. Chen Shang really revealed his spirit chi, but after just a few breaths of time, the mountain started to shake and shake, all the tall mountains around the pit started to crack and collapse, and from the deep pit, a red mist formed tentacle that reached towards Chen Shang. Hurry up! Yue shouted in alarm. Chen Shang anxiously hid his presence, using spatial escape to hide in the crevices of space. Even though he had hidden himself in the spatial crack, he could still feel a very powerful ripple transmitted over. He sensed the space wind in the spatial crack, and only ran out after bringing Yue some distance away. When he came out, he was immediately stunned. The mountain range that he had entered earlier had already been razed to the ground. The deep pit on the ground was where the Queen of Bugs resided. The forest that was originally surrounded by trees and trees had now been turned to rubble. Too terrifying, I can't kill this guy by myself. Chen Shang never thought that the insect empress would be so terrifying. Just as he finished speaking, the deep pit suddenly released a strong suction force, absorbing all the shattered rocks around the big pit. There were a lot of crushed stones and soil, and in a short moment, all of them entered the deep pit. The deep pit had disappeared. Clearly, the queen bug had intentionally hidden herself. The queen bug should be lurking in the depths of the earth. It actually ran around everywhere. It's too scary. We have to get the news back to them and let them strengthen their defense so that the dragon's vein won't be damaged. Yu said. Chen Shang had only been out for one night, and he already had astonishing gains. He took out an array disc, and after entering the array disc, he was teleported to the 100 Flowers Hall. Sister Kilian doesn't seem to be here. Chen Shang came out of the teleportation room, looked around, it was very quiet here. When he arrived at the hall, he heard someone humming a cheerful little tune. Chen Shang looked towards the little hall at the other side. It was a bathing room, and the door was wide open. Chen Shang told himself in his heart that he had important things to attend to, and that he definitely did not have any other goals. Little Moon stuck out her head and laid by the side of her backpack, as if she was waiting for something. Chen Shang arrived at the bathroom's door and saw Long Huishan soaking in a bath. She leaned on the side of the bath and faced Chen Shang, but her chest was submerged in water, and all Chen Shang could see was her jade-white beautiful collarbone. Long Huishan was still humming a little song. Even though she had seen Chen Shang, it seemed like nothing had happened. Good little brother, you've been busy all day so you should be tired. Do you want to bathe together? Long Huishan giggled. Yes, Chen Shang said shamelessly. He had already stepped into the shower room, but when he entered, he discovered that something was wrong. Although the water in the bath was foggy, it gave Chen Shang an extremely cold feeling. He felt that there must be a trick to it. Chapter 2070. Chen Shang only came to the side of the pond and stopped. He did not plan to go down, he only felt a bit of cold air and knew that the water was definitely not hot water. Why aren't you coming down? Long Huishan chuckled. Chen Zhang's eyes were currently fixed on her chest, only that place was covered by a red petal, he could not see anything. Big sis Long, I have something important to do. After I found a bug, she ran away. Chen Shang arrived at the edge of the bath where Long Huishan was leaning on and looked down without restraint. However, Long Huishan and the others could hide themselves well, causing him to be unable to see anything that he wanted to see. I remember that Fu Tianggao said that the queen was very big, so it was not convenient to move her, but she actually ran away. Long Huishan frowned slightly as he thought it was a little surprising. Could it be that you've attacked the insect? Of course not, I don't dare to attack. I just went near that place and exposed a bit of my aura, which would cause the queen to be alert. After she went into a rage and razed the entire mountain range to the ground, she drilled away from the ground. Chen Shang thought back to it with a tinge of fear. The bug queen is so powerful, I am no match for her. Long Huishan's long legs stuck out of the water, and then, she gently rubbed it with her jade hands before putting it down again. Watching her, Chen Shang secretly gulped a mouthful of saliva, while Long Huishan just chuckled lightly. Help me rub my back. Long Huishan laughed. Oh, Chen Shang answered. His hands seemed to be unable to control himself as he reached towards Long Huishan's back and gently rubbed her shoulders. Long Huishan murmured in great enjoyment. I didn't think that a thick-headed old man like you would actually be able to do such a meticulous thing. Chen Shang only chuckled twice. At this time, he was indeed very serious as he rubbed Long Huishan's back and shoulders, and used his Chuangzao fire to secretly make his hands feel warm. For an ice dragon like Long Huishan, who trained in the icy cold power all year round, it was also very comfortable to occasionally feel this kind of warmth. I'll inform Kilian, Ji Dongshan and the others right now. After Long Huishan took out the communication jade symbol paper, he asked Chen Shang to explain the details to her, and then she passed them on to the big shots in the conference room one by one. Long Huishan laughed. Good little brother, you are always so tired. Are you really not going to come down and wash up together with me? No more. Chen Shang looked at the cold energy that leaked out from the water surface and shook his head. HMPH, are you that afraid of me? Long Huishan pouted. Earlier on that carriage, you said you wanted to take care of me, but now you're trying to take care of me. Seeing Long Huishan's playful expression, Chen Shang took a deep breath. Both of his hands moved like lightning deep into the water and pressed on Long Huishan's chest. Long Huishan was truly unexpected. She had only planned to tease Chen Shang a little, but she had never expected that the desire for Chen Shang to possess her would be so strong. Little bastard, stop messing around. Long Huishan hurriedly shouted as he placed his hands perfectly on her chest, preventing her from escaping. Furthermore, he even rubbed her hands lightly. This feeling would not be forgotten even if she died. Just as Chen Shang was feeling satisfied, there was someone standing at the door. It was LV Kilian who was there, and she was a little surprised to see him. Of course she could tell that Chen Shang had forced it, because Long Huishan was struggling slightly. After knowing that LV Kilian had come, Chen Shang hurriedly stopped and let go of Long Huishan. She only saw Long Huishan looking at Chen Shang with a blushing face. Although her face was filled with anger, there was still a trace of gentleness in her eyes. Damn brat, Long Huishan scolded. The water that was condensed from ice had already been thrown heavily into Chen Zhang's face. After being hit, Chen Shang flew out and crashed into the wall. Seeing Chen Shang getting beaten up, LV Kilian's face was also filled with joy. He then said lightly, quickly come out and get down to business. Chen Shang rubbed his face and curled his lips. Then, he walked out of the bath and sat on a chair in the hall outside. His face was a little red. After that, Long Huishan also came out of the bath, and dressed in an ice armor, looking extremely domineering. Adding that her jade face was covered in frost, Chen Shang felt a little afraid. I've already gotten the array disc, and will go find Ji Dongshan and the others later to discuss how to deal with Futian school. Chen Shang, you said that the insect empress ran away. LV Kilian asked. He ran away, but don't worry. You will be able to find him, and right now I also have some understanding of the bug queen. Right now, I can't deal with her by myself, at least not with the strength of a god. Chen Shang said. Long Huishan said from the side, I'll go with him. If you can't come back and call for help, you guys must stay here and defend the city. Chen Shang didn't even dare to look at Long Huishan, because that fierce gaze that Long Huishan used to look at him with earlier had already made him somewhat afraid. Fine. Just a moment ago, she had personally witnessed how Chen Shang had taken advantage of Long Huishan, and now, Long Huishan had actually suggested that she go with him, causing LV Kilian to suddenly worry about him. Long Huishan stood up, glared at Chen Shang, and said, what are you afraid of? I will bring your little lover back safely. HMPH, he's your little lover now as well, and he's even your little brother. LV Kilian snorted, but his eyes were filled with laughter. Chen Shang coughed dryly twice, then said, "Let's go, let's take advantage of the fact that it's still night time, to make it easier to find the insect queen." Long Huishan looked at Yue who was in Chen Zhang's bag, nodded, and followed Chen Shang into the teleportation room, teleporting out of the city. Just like last time, they appeared in that forest that was filled with evil aura. After arriving here, Long Huishan had also put away the snow-white ice dragon armor on her body and changed into a set of black tight clothes. "Big sis Long, I'm really sorry for what happened just now. I don't know why my head started burning I can't control it," Chen Shang said with a face full of guilt, because after Long Huishan's intense reaction, he was extremely uneasy. "Damn brat, it's been so long since you last touched a woman." Just now, Long Huishan had felt Chen Zhang's deep feelings for him. "It's been a long time, even though I have many women by my side but I can't find the right time." Chen Shang laughed dryly. Long Huishan punched him in the chest, and scolded him with a laugh. "You're really so afraid that I'll get angry, but I never expected you to be so brave, to actually dare come. If it wasn't for Kilian who just happened to come, maybe you would have gotten hit by it." Seeing the carefree smile on Long Huishan's face, Chen Shang secretly calmed down and laughed. "I'm just afraid that you will ignore me in the future. I don't want to lose you but come to think of it, did Big Sis Long think that Sister Kilian did not come at the right time, and felt a little disappointed?" Quote. "Stop being so smelly." Long Huishan patted his head. Long Huishan was also very tall, reaching Chen Zhang's forehead. He was almost as tall as Chen Shang. Oh, Chen Shang was actually very disappointed, but right at this moment, something unexpected happened. Long Huishan suddenly hugged him, and then used the sandalwood mouth to block his mouth, and actually took the initiative to kiss him. But what was even worse, Long Huishan's hand suddenly grabbed onto his chest with great force. Chapter 2071. In her opinion, it was extremely boring. What made her even more confused was that they had actually been bored for less than an hour. Moreover, they were in this pitch-black and sinister forest, and in the distance, there were even some demons roaring. No matter how she looked at it, it didn't seem like a place to do romantic things. "Is that enough?" Long Huishan pushed Chen Shang away and licked his lips. "It's about time." Chen Shang rubbed his chest. At first, Long Huishan had indeed pinched him very hard, but then she turned into rubbing and it made him feel extremely comfortable. "You guys are really bored. To do this kind of thing, the bath is more suitable. This kind of place is more suitable for fighting and killing." Yu pouted. Long Huishan laughed. "That brat already wanted to do this to me when I was bathing, I am only going to satisfy him." Chen Shang also laughed. "It's Big Sis Long, you wish for me to do this to you, right?" As he spoke, Chen Shang took her hand and used the space wind to bring her out of the dark forest, to the mountain range that had been razed to the ground. "So fast, what is this spell?" Long Huishan only felt that when the colorful lights passed by, she could feel how fast Chen Shang was taking her. "It was Yue who taught me the space wind. I can only learn it by using the power of space," Chen Shang said. Long Huishan looked at Yue, stroked her head, and said, "Previously, when Yulan came to find me, she told me about Yue's little kitten. I didn't expect her to be so powerful. Oh yes, I heard Yulan mention the matter of you kissing her. This girl actually told Jing Jing and Lingling, these two girls." Quote. "This, I'll talk about her later." Chen Shang blushed deeply. Dongfang Jing and Shen Lingling were very, very innocent girls, yet Leng Yulan actually told them this. Long Huishan carefully observed the scene and frowned. This should be caused by a very strong shockwave. This kind of shockwave can travel to a place far away, and can even travel a long distance. For the queen bug to be able to use this kind of power, it seems like the queen bug also has a tribute power. If that's the case, then the demonic insects that were born should also possess the same familiar strength as the insect queen. Quote. Can you still find that bug?" Chen Shang asked. "Of course, when you kissed me earlier, I started looking for you." Yue laughed. "Now that we've found it, we can go and have a look. Don't let it disturb the queen bug like last time." Long Huishan had heard from Chen Shang that Chen Shang had wanted to test the insect queen's vigilance, but he never thought that her reaction would be so intense. Furthermore, she had even ran away, making it clear that the insect empress was extremely alert. Chen Shang brought Long Huishan to Yue's newest location. This time, they were even further away from the Nine Heaven City. He had only arrived there using the space wind for an hour. This place was also inside the mountain range, but the mountains here were all desolate mountains, without any flowers or trees. The mountains were all very tall and lofty, especially within. If a huge crater appeared, it would not be discovered easily, because this place was a place where very few people came. The divine aura was also extremely sparse. It won't be easy to make a move. The insect knows that she is very weak right now, so once someone is nearby, no matter how strong she is, she will choose to leave. Chen Shang and Long Huishan were at the top of a mountain, and they saw a huge pit in front of them. This pit was just as big as the one Chen Shang had discovered earlier. In order to not alarm the bugs, Chen Shang used the space domain to cover himself and Long Huishan, preventing their auras from leaking out. Do you know how deep the queen is hiding? Long Huishan asked. If I knew the depth, I could have used the mysterious power. Little Moon replied, 80,000 feet. If that's the case, then you'd better calculate at a depth of 100,000 feet. Chen Shang, how strong can your space domain block? I need to condense my mysterious power now. At that time, not only will I need to freeze the insect, I will also need to freeze everything around me, so that we can freeze everything within 100,000 meters of the ground. Long Huishan asked seriously. That powerful? Would the consumption be very severe? I can stop your aura no matter how strong you are. Chen Shang said with complete confidence. Long Huishan must be too godly, otherwise she would not willingly give it to Chen Shang. Don't worry, I'm 15 divine deity now, dealing with a bug is too easy. I possess the ancient ice dragon's bloodline after all. Long Huishan lightly patted his face and smiled gently, telling him to be at ease. Long Huishan being able to obtain 15 divine deity also surprised him. He previously thought that Long Huishan only had a dozen or so of these, and it must be because the ice dragon had helped her. Long Huishan said that she needed time to gather her energy, but it did not take her long to finish. In just half a cup of tea's time, a white bead had condensed in her hands. What's next? Chen Shang asked. Go to the top of the deep hole quietly, then I'll just take this thing down. Long Huishan caught the ice pearl in the water. Chen Shang had only sensed a trace of icy cold power, it wasn't as terrifying as he had imagined. He brought Long Huishan to the top of the deep pit using the space wind. Long Huishan pointed the ice pearl at the deep pit and let out a light snort. If we don't quickly let the ice drop down, that fellow will have time to run away. Long Huishan said. That was why she had used her full strength to push the ice pearl into the pit. From high up in the sky, Chen Shang could see that after Long Huishan had entered the deep pit, a gust of cold air had quickly emerged from the deep pit. Furthermore, the ground and the ground within 100 miles of the deep pit were covered in cold frost. Thick layers of ice also formed on the walls of the deep pit, and at this moment, terrifying cold air continued to emit from below. So powerful, Chen Shang took a deep breath, he felt that if he was frozen, he would definitely be severely injured. This is the power of the fusion of the powers of my first and second divine deity. Long Huishan laughed. Are you afraid? Yes, Big Sis Long is so scary. Chen Shang giggled, then suddenly kissed her on the cheek. There's movement from below. Just as Yue finished speaking, a burst of cold air emerged from Long Huishan's body, transforming into a snow-white ice dragon armor. Long Huishan had already rushed into the deep pit. Using the Dao Heart Eye, he saw that everything below was snow-white. This was the power of the ice that Long Huishan had just frozen the ground with. In the middle of the deep hole, there was something black, he suspected that it was the queen. This thing is way too small. Chen Shang felt that what he said and what Yue Fu Tianggao had said did not match up, because the bugs they spoke of were huge, like mountains. This isn't an insect queen. Yue also realized that something was amiss as she hurriedly said. Chapter 2072. Chen Shang was startled. They had always thought that this thing was the descendant of bugs, but it was not right now. What was it then? And it looked so terrible. Will Big Sis Long be alright? Chen Shang said as he rushed downwards. Don't worry about her, she's not weak at all. Yue replied, there was originally a queen bug down there, but it suddenly turned into something. Perhaps the queen bug died, but something came out of the queen bug's body. Chen Shang said. I used my Dao Heart Eye to see a black mass. That is an evil force. What is it? Because the surrounding cave walls had been frozen by Long Huishan and there was only a vast expanse of whiteness below him, when Long Huishan arrived at the bottom, the surrounding ice was still emitting a white glow, illuminating the bottom of the cave. This is a... Long Huishan stood on top of a huge black bug. This bug looked like a centipede, with many pairs of thorny legs. The insect was already frozen, but there was a hole in its head, as if something had run out of the hole and even pierced through the thick ice. "Who are you?" Just as Long Huishan thought that it was strange, she heard a shout from behind her. She had just turned around, and a sword was suddenly thrusted towards her throat, causing her to hastily sidestep. "It has the power of a dragon." He waved the sword in his hand, releasing the ice blades from Long Huishan's hands. He knew very well, if he was hit by this, he would definitely not feel good. Long Huishan had already seen the person clearly. He was actually a white and handsome man with a set of black armor. The long sword in his hand was not an ordinary weapon, and his body was releasing waves after waves of evil spirit chi. "You're not from here." Long Huishan had frequently clashed with the evil demons here in the past, but he had never met with anyone as evil as the man in front of him. "That's right, who exactly are you? Is it from the Nine Heaven School?" He actually knew that the Nine Heaven School was going to deal with them. "But I have never heard of a person like you in the Nine Heaven School. Could it be that you're the female dragon king that just came from the ice dragon race?" The man suddenly came to his senses. He did not waste any words. The evil force on his body surged. Holding onto his sword, he attacked frantically. The evil chi of the sword gushed out. Wielding the sword created a burst of evil chi. The evil chi struck Long Huishan's face. It caused her to feel pain, and after parrying a few slashes, she immediately ran away from the man, because the opponent's evil chi was too terrifying. Was infuriated. The other party actually knew about her, and seemed to have just found out as well. It was very obvious that someone had told him these things, and even without thinking, they already knew that it was Fu Tian School's Fu Tiangao. Chen Shang had already crept closer. When he came down, he had personally witnessed the process of Long Huishan and the man's battle, and had heard their conversation. At this moment, he was also secretly resentful towards Fu Tiangao. "Looks like I have to do something." Chen Shang took a deep breath, then said to Yu, I had previously used the power of space to bind people as to release a space barrier that is exactly the same as the other person's body, and trap them within this space, making them unable to move." Quote, "However, I had used a large amount of spatial energy back then to forcefully make it. There was no skill in that." Hearing Chen Zhang's words, Yue understood what Chen Shang meant. He wanted to ask her if she understood this kind of method, so of course she would understand. This move is called spatial binding. It has a certain skill, and it requires one to know how to use the power of space. Yue immediately used the method of divine soul exchange and transmitted it into his divine soul, allowing him to comprehend it quickly. Chen Shang had already used it before, so it was easier for him to learn now. "How about this, you tie him up first, and then I'll bind him in a layer of space outside. This way, the two layers will buy Big Sis Long some time," Yu said. Below, the man was fighting with Long Huishan again. The two of them were fighting intensely, and temporarily, they were on par with each other, while Chen Shang who was above them was also blown up by the chi waves produced when they were fighting, causing him to have no choice but to use his spatial energy barrier to separate himself from the surrounding space to prevent any side effects. Cracks had already appeared on the thick ice on the walls of this deep pit, and large amounts of ice were falling down from above. If this continued, then this deep pit would definitely collapse. "How's it going? We have to use it as soon as possible. Although Big Sis Long and that guy have a draw, dragging this out won't be good for us because the monsters around here are mostly him, so the other side is probably trying to stall for time for helpers," Yu said. "You can use it now." Chen Shang took a deep breath, and allowed the six realms power within the divine sense CS to flow into the spatial divine deity. After passing through the spatial divine deity, the six realms power could instantly transform into a formidable power of space. Six realms power originally contained powers of other attributes. Although it could be directly used on space, it was not enough to become stronger after being converted by divine deity. "Freeze!" Chen Shang shouted in his heart, and a large amount of the condensed spatial energy gushed out, passing through the air and wrapping around the man's body, forming an invisible spatial seal. Furthermore, the six realms power in his divine sense C was still steadily gushing out, providing energy, maintaining the spatial seal. Yue had also started her cultivation at this time. When she had awakened her memories, she had already recovered quite a bit of her strength. Don't look at her like this. She had an extremely terrifying power of the stars and moon, and she could also skillfully use the power of the space laws. At this moment, Yue had also used spatial binding, and had shared two spatial binding with Chen Shang, causing the man to be unable to move for a moment. Now, Chen Shang could also feel that his spatial binding had begun to crack, because the man's strength was extremely terrifying. Long Huishan's reaction was extremely fast. She saw that the other party was suddenly unable to move, and was floating in mid-air. She knew that someone was secretly attacking. She immediately rushed over, and using half of her mysterious power, she condensed onto her blade, and with one slash she chopped off the opponent's head, and then with another palm strike, the headless body and the Divine Sense C separated, leaving behind the Divine Sense C support. She became extremely weak, and was frozen up by Long Huishan in an instant. After the headless body was frozen, Long Huishan then kicked it with his leg. It was actually a very strong vibrating force that turned the body into ice crystals. Chen Shang grabbed the severed head from the air and started using soul-absorbing devil spell on it, but right after he used it, his face changed and he quickly let go. Long Huishan looked down at the head curiously. She was worried that something might have happened to Chen Shang, and cried out in alarm, but she quickly flew up, cut the head into half, and then used the strong icy cold power to freeze it. Chapter 2073. Are you all right? What just happened? Just now, she was also shocked. This was the first time she had seen Chen Shang encountering such a danger and it had almost scared her to death. She suddenly realized that she was extremely afraid of losing Chen Shang. I'm fine. Chen Shang's forehead dripped with sweat. This guy is from the Divine Nations, I just got some of his memories. The reason Chen Shang used the soul-absorbing devil spell just now was to see just what kind of background this person had. Just now, I suffered a backlash because I wanted to go to his divine deity. This guy protects his divine deity very well, and if I want to take away his divine deity, then his divine deity would become very unstable. After that, it would explode, creating a mental attack that would directly attack the opponent's divine soul. Chen Shang said with fear still lingering in his heart. He had almost been attacked just now. Looks like Hell Devil Emperor has support from the Divine Nations. At first, we thought that he was abandoned by the Divine Nations, but we never expected that this would only cause us to think that the Hell Devil Emperor was weakened. Long Huishan said. Chen Shang nodded. He looked at the insect below him and activated Dao Heart Eye, discovering that there was a ball of light inside the insect's body. He used the air to retrieve the thing inside. The thing inside was a crystal the size of a watermelon. This is a great divine deity. Uaa said. This item was refined using a large amount of divine deity, and it is very pure. With a single glance, one could tell that the energy inside was extremely pure. This guy came out from the back of the bug's head. Long Huishan said. The Divine Nations has already found a way to control the insect. They want a person to directly enter the Insect Queen's Divine Sense C and turn them into the Insect Queen's Divine Soul. Then, they can control the Insect Queen's evil insects. In order to assimilate into the Insect Queen's Divine Sense C, the person who enters the Divine Sense C must cultivate an evil force that is similar to the Insect Queen. Chen Shang looked at the huge divine deity in his hands and continued. This divine deity was refined by the Divine Nations and the others to quickly raise the strength of the insect, allowing the Insect Queen to have the power to protect herself in the initial stages. Chen Shang learned all of this from the man's memories. Long Huishan was still here, and it was already late at night, but she was still waiting in the hall. Because the Bug Queen was very powerful, she was very worried about Chen Shang and Long Huishan. How is it? LV Kilian saw that Chen Shang and Long Huishan's faces were not as pale as when he went out. Are you injured? I'm fine. Long Huishan sat down. I've made a big discovery. Chen Shang said, the Insect Empress's matter isn't as simple as we thought it was. It's extremely complicated and was made by the Divine Nations. Chen Shang told LV Kilian everything he knew. Currently, the 3 bugs that surrounded and attacked 9 Heaven City were all bred in the first batch, and all of them had a rather strong evil demon inside. Chen Shang took out the divine deity he took out from the Insect Empress's body and continued, in order for Divine Nations to cultivate this kind of thing, it also requires a lot of energy, so this kind of thing definitely cannot be produced in large quantities. This made Chen Shang more at ease. If there were a lot of them and they were still hiding, then when they attacked together, it would be difficult for them to resist. Now that the Divine Nations had created a few of these things, they could be used to support the Hell Devil Emperor. At the same time, he wanted to see how effective they were. That Fu Tianggao should be in contact with the Hell Devil Emperor at all times, and the people hiding inside the Insect Empress Divine Sense C can also receive any news from the Hell Devil Emperor. That's why they found out that I had just come to the 9 Heaven School. Long Huishan said, are you all prepared to deal with that brat? Don't let him get away. Quote. Ji Dongshan has already told him. Because of the urgent situation, he is preparing to attack the evil demons outside, and needs support. In order to show off, he had to go find him in the middle of the night. The elite disciples of the Futian school will arrive tomorrow. LV Kilian said. I left the array disk with Ji Dongshan and the others. They are already arranging the receiving location. When that time comes, we will start the slaughter. Are you going? Long Huishan asked Chen Shang. No, I'm going to cultivate. Chen Shang raised the great divine deity he had just obtained. He felt that this object was very suitable for his cultivation and just needed to be refined. Long Huishan smiled at LV Kilian. Kilian, this brat told me that he hasn't touched a woman in a long time and it has been a few days since he came back. Didn't you all agree to not letting this brat touch me? HMPH, he hasn't touched a woman for a long time, why are you telling me that? Can't you just let him touch you? LV Kilian said snappily, and then glared at Chen Shang. Chen Shang was surprised that Long Huishan would actually tell LV Kilian this kind of thing. Although this was what LV Kilian said on the surface, she had already stood up and entered a room. When she entered, she gave Chen Shang a dubious glance. Good little brother, how are you going to thank me? Long Huishan laughed. Chen Shang handed Yuaa over to Long Huishan, and charmingly smiled at her. You'll know in the future. Yuaa saw Chen Shang hurriedly entering LV Kilian's room, and hearing the sounds coming from inside, she stuck out her tongue and said, when I was at Super God Realm, he was always in the room naked with Feng Yuji, it was so boring. Long Huishan was shocked, what? Feng Yuji, I actually fell in love with him too, this little brat, I have underestimated him. Quote. Yuaa smiled, he was originally a wolf, but in front of all of you, he was pretending to be a little sheep. In his eyes, all of you are little white rabbits. Inside the room, Chen Shang and LV Kilian had just reunited after a long time. At this moment, they both felt their love, and felt the happiness from their bodies and minds merging together. At the same time, they also cultivated the alive slain method, and condensed the crystal of their lava. Big Sis Long, you also cultivate the icy cold power, and your control over it is superb. If you can also master the ice-cold law, then you will definitely be very strong. Yuaa said. After all, you still have the bloodline of the ancient divine dragon race in you. Long Huishan nodded his head, Shuiyi who has mastered the laws of ice is even more powerful. It's a pity that it's not easy to grasp the laws. Quote. That's not necessarily true. After you return to the Hundreds of Flowers village, find Bingyan and have her give you a Dao Heart Stone. At that time, even if you can't grasp the laws of ice, you can still obtain the profound strength of the way of ice through this. Yuaa said. However, you have to repay Bingyan and teach her the techniques to use the icy cold power. Long Huishan did not doubt Yuaa's words. She had heard Leng Yulin and Mu Chenxiang say before that Shui Bingyan had an extremely powerful stone that, after being used by the Supreme God, could allow him to gain power that was close to controlling the laws. This is for sure, I often share with Shuiyi the way I use the power of ice. When I go to Hundreds of Flowers village, I will definitely carefully teach Bingyan and I will definitely treat her as a sister. Although I have not seen her before, I have heard it from Yulan and Chenxiang. Long Huishan gently stroked Yuaa, who was lying on her lap, as she also gradually fell in love with this mysterious little white cat. Chapter 2074. After successfully killing one insect, he had allowed Chen Shang and the others to obtain more useful things. At the same time, he had also made Chen Shang realize that his current strength was extremely weak. After obtaining the great divine deity, he entered the Hundreds of Flowers village, and went inside the dragon vein. He wanted to refine the great divine deity into a pellet. There are a lot of methods to create a heavenly alchemy. There must be a way to refine this great divine deity into a divine deity that can fuse with my own. Chen Shang urgently needed to condense his divine deity now. As long as he had more divine deity, his divine sense C's power would become even stronger. Chen Shang suddenly had a flash of inspiration. I have refined a bone-level Dan inside the divine sense C before. If I can refine the divine deity like I would refine pills, and fuse it with my divine sense C, then I won't need to cultivate the divine deity so hard. Congealing divine deity gave Chen Shang a huge headache, especially when his cultivation method was different from others. It was harder for him to condense divine deity. In the past, only by condensing divine soul would I be able to cultivate divine deity, but if I were to use the method of refining pellets, maybe I would be able to condense divine soul after cultivating divine deity. Chen Shang already possessed 3 fairly useful innate abilities, which were enough for him to use. For the time being, he did not need to cultivate any other innate abilities, so he could just condense his divine deity directly. He sat in the secret room inside the dragon vein and looked at the incomparably pure great divine deity in his hands. Afterwards, he injected the power of creation into it, and at the same time, he also used the method of heavenly alchemy to fuse the pure energy within the great divine deity with the power of creation. This way, the great divine deity could be assimilated by the power of creation, becoming a power that could produce Chuangzhou Fire S in the future. It works. Chen Shang tried it out and was extremely happy. He decided to use this method to refine his divine deity into a finished product before he associated it with his divine sense C. It was also at this time that Chen Shang suddenly thought of something. Divine deity are formed from the fusion of various types of energies, which is to say, I can refine divine deity inside the pill furnace. Divine deity are pills formed by living beings inside the divine sense C. If I can complete them in the cauldron, my speed will definitely be even faster. Quote, if this method was feasible, then it would greatly increase the speed at which he condensed divine deity, and could even directly complete various types of divine deity in the pill furnace. But the condition was that he needed a method to refine divine deity, which would definitely need all kinds of precious medicinal pellets that contained all kinds of energy, and also ingredients that could continuously evolve. I'll begin the 4th divine deity. After Chen Shang returned from the super god realm, he felt that he had suffered a huge blow. Although no one would say that he was weak, he was clear that everyone thought that he was an alchemist, and that there was no need for him to be strong. He did not need to fight all over, as long as he was concocting pills quietly. Chen Shang originally thought so too, but the current situation was beyond his control. He would have to roll up his sleeves and do it himself many times, so to become a powerful alchemist, he would need to possess extremely strong strength to ensure his safety. When they were entering, Chen Shang had told Yue that he would ask Yue to bring them to the nest of the Bug Queen. If possible, he wanted them to retrieve the great divine deity as soon as possible. It's getting more and more difficult to condense divine deity, because divine deity is constantly increasing. Chen Shang couldn't help but sigh. When he first condensed his divine deity, he was already very weak, but now he had already grown very strong. In other words, the 4th divine deity he condensed needs to be at the same level as the other 3, or maybe even stronger than the other 3. He estimated the strength of the 3 divine deities in his body, and then, feeling completely at ease, he took out the medicinal furnace and placed the great divine deity inside it. After refining the great divine deity, it would be enough to become his 4th. We will first use the pill furnace to refine it small, then put it into the divine sense C to refine. The current divine deity was extremely large, and needed to be compressed. When compressed, it would cause the mysterious power inside the divine deity to explode, and when compressed, it would become very unstable, and could easily explode. It was very dangerous to put it into the divine sense C when it was unstable. He might have used the heavenly alchemy to refine divine deity multiple times, but it was different this time. In the past, he had refined the divine deity into pills to eat, and he had obtained a large amount of energy that he could not absorb from within. Right now, even a little of the mysterious power would not be removed. Instead, after being compressed and refined, the quality would still increase by leaps and bounds, so he felt that his 4th divine deity would be very strong. In order to refine the great divine deity, he had to first compress it into a chi state like when refining pills. Now, he needed to compress the great divine deity into chi state, and then compress it again. This was Chen Zhang's first time refining this kind of divine deity. He had no experience at all, and the mysterious power that he needed to condense was extremely vast. After I leave, I'll have Meng make a pill furnace. If it was a normal pill cultivating, he could use any kind of pill furnace, but right now he couldn't practice normal pill refining and had to refine such a strong divine deity. Although it was difficult, Chen Shang had faced many difficult problems over the years, and they were all overcome by him. The originally trembling pill furnace, under his hard work, calmed down and the pill furnace started to gather energy from the inside. One of the benefits of refining pills in the dragon's vein was that he could absorb the boundless divine energy from the dragon's vein while refining pills to replenish his rapid consumption. This way, he wouldn't need to consume pills to replenish his energy. Chen Shang refined continuously for 3 days and 3 nights without a break, and he consumed a lot of energy at every second. Without this supplement, it would be hard for him to persevere on. This is really killing me. Chen Shang opened the pill furnace and took out the fist-sized divine deity. The previously crystal-clear divine deity had now been refined into a silver-white color by him. This was because when he was refining, he had been using a large number of Chuangzhou fire to assimilate it. After resting for a long time and allowing him to return to his peak condition, he began the second stage of the refinement. This was to allow his divine deity to be refined in the divine sense sea. This great divine deity was originally very big, but now that it had shrunk to the size of a fist, not only did it not weaken in the slightest, it even condensed into a single mass, causing the quality to greatly increase. And the second stage of refinement was to make this divine deity shrink even further. He placed this divine deity inside the divine sense sea, then released the magic method furnace inside the divine sense sea, and started the second stage of refinement. Other people's divine deity were all created through hard work, but Chen Shang himself had cultivated it through hard work. He felt that since he was an alchemist, his own divine deity should be refined just like pill refining. Chapter 2075. Chen Shang began to refine the second stage, which was much longer than the first stage. Although the difficulty of the second stage was extremely high, the reason he was refining the pellet was only to reduce the risk. It was extremely dangerous for him to shrink the divine deity to such a small size in the divine sense sea, and it was also not beneficial for him to fuse them. I have to refine this divine deity so that it can produce a sense of familiarity with me. This way, when the melted energy converges, it will be my fourth divine deity. The second stage was to throw the fist-sized divine deity into the divine sense sea to fuse, and then condense it into an even smaller divine deity. This was because the previous fusion had occurred within the divine sense sea, and when he reassembled it, it was equivalent to his own fourth divine deity. Originally, he could have done it in one go because it was his first time trying it out. In order to be complete, he divided it into 2 steps, and once he got used to it, he would resolve it in one go. After all, this was related to the safety of his divine sense sea, so he had to be careful. After the divine deity was melted, Chen Shang used the powerful mysterious power to wrap it up, and then soaked it in the peaceful divine sense sea. He also let the divine soul within his other 3 divine deity release a trace of soul power to establish a connection with the ball of divine deity. I wonder if it will work. Chen Shang patiently waited. Once he succeeded in establishing a good connection between this ball of divine deity which had taken the form of Qi and the other 3, he would be able to combine them. As long as he succeeded, he would be able to condense his fourth divine deity. Fortunately, Chen Shang only needed to control the mysterious power to wrap that ball of divine deity up. He didn't need to do anything too tiring, and could patiently wait. In merely 7 days of time, Chen Shang had sensed that the other 3 pellets had established a connection with the ball of divine deity, which meant that he could now begin to gather them. He had originally thought that it would take 1 to 2 months before those 3 divine deities would approve of this ball of external divine deity, and now, it had only been a short 7 days. The last step. Chen Shang let that ball of divine deity float from the divine sense sea, then he released the magic method furnace from the divine sense sea and began to gather this ball of divine deity. This meant that he had 2 Chuangzhou fire divine deities. In the future, when he released the Chuangzhou fire, the quantity and strength of the 6 realms power that he released would greatly increase after passing through these 2 divine deities. Originally, when he was going to transform the 6 realms power into a Chuangzhou fire, there was only one path he could take, but now that there were 2 paths at the same time, after rushing out and then converging them, he could become even faster. He needed Chuangzhou fire to refine pills, so he needed to condense more divine deity that could increase his flames. As the ball of divine deity that had turned into a gaseous state had already been assimilated by his divine sense sea, and had established a connection with the other 3 divine deity, he was no longer as irritable as before. All right, Chen Shang shouted excitedly in his heart. The 4th divine deity had already been condensed. This was the Chuangzhou fire's divine deity, and it was still strong, so what he needed to do now was to condense a divine soul inside. In 11 days, the 4th divine deity has been successfully condensed. Chen Shang opened his eyes and laid on the ground. One must know that he had only condensed the 3rd divine deity earlier, and it wasn't long before the 4th divine deity was 90% complete. This kind of speed was already ridiculously fast, but he was still an alchemist, treating his own divine deity like a pill refining. I'm still short of divine soul. In the past, he would only condense divine deity after cultivating divine soul, but now, it was the opposite. I need to train my divine soul seriously as well. This divine deity has a lot of meaning to me. Chen Shang took out the fire Qilin chain, he felt around a bit, and saw that the inside contained divine deity S and divine soul, but divine soul was an extremely terrifying fire attribute divine soul. For the time being, he did not know what kind of divine soul it was, but he felt that it would be beneficial for him in helping the fourth divine deity to manifest. Alright, first take a good look at what the divine soul of this fire Qilin chain is. Chen Shang tried to sense it with his heart, but not long after, he saw a fire unicorn suddenly roar, and it was a purple Qilin, emitting purple flames all over its body. Chen Shang was shocked, his eyes opened wide as he looked at the Qilin fire chain that had suddenly turned purple. Earlier, he had not only discovered the purple-colored Qilin divine soul, he was also surprised because there were actually 9 sets of divine deity inside. It was just that the inside of the divine deity was missing a single set of divine soul. He took a closer look at the other divine weapons and discovered that other than the profound WU clothing, the rest all had 9 divine deity. At the beginning, the profound WU clothing had been damaged, but later on it had 1 divine deity and 1 divine soul, becoming extremely strong. As expected of something refined by the heavenly divine lord, there are actually 9 strange divine deities inside. Chen Shang felt that it was a pity that the profound WU clothing was so heavily damaged, and had lost so much of its divine deity. He placed the fire Qilin chain inside the divine sense C to make the fire Qilin chain shrink a little, and wrapped around the 4th divine deity. He hoped that the 4th divine deity would be affected by the purple Qilin divine soul and produce a similar level of divine soul. The process of condensing divine soul was a bit long. Chen Shang felt that in the future, he would also need to refine the same type of divine soul as the great divine deity. Chuangzhou fire has a very strong regenerative ability. Right now, after absorbing a large amount of divine power from the dragon vein, coupled with the influence of the fire Qilin chain, it should be very easy to condense divine soul. Chen Shang used the heavenly alchemy, and quickly absorbed the energy from the dragon vein to condense the divine soul. In just 2 days of time, he suddenly discovered that a dot had appeared within the 4th divine deity. Using his Dao Heart Eye to look, he discovered that this dot was formed from purple energy and it could even move. What's going on? It looks like a baby. Chen Shang was a little surprised. If that was really the case, then his divine soul embryo had already appeared. The divine soul in its final form was similar to a human's, and it had flesh and blood. When Chen Shang had first cultivated the divine soul, he had already gone through this long process, and the divine soul that he cultivated afterwards became much easier, allowing him to grow to a mature and perfect state very quickly. After another day, the divine soul within the 4th divine deity was already very obvious. It could be seen that it was a very small infant, only that there was a layer of faint purple-colored mist surrounding the outside. Chen Shang continued to cultivate. A few days later, he checked again, and what surprised him was that his divine soul had already reached the level of an adult, and his body was even wearing a set of purple armor with some patterns on it. It was actually carved with fire unicorn S, and it looked extremely beautiful. To think that divine soul would actually look like this. Chen Shang suddenly had another idea. He wanted to mainly cultivate 5 different types of supernatural powers, which was 5 main divine soul. This was because he had 5 powerful divine weapons. Chapter 2076. Chen Shang had already decided to do this. This also meant that the 3 divine soul that he had previously cultivated needed to undergo a new round of cultivation. Of course, he did not plan to erase this possibility from the beginning. His plan was to let the 3 divine soul undergo an increase in power. 5 main divine deity, and these 5 divine deity and these 5 divine weapons are linked together. In the future, the internal divine deity of the divine weapons, together with the divine deity in my divine sense C, will certainly be even more terrifying. Chen Shang was excited just thinking about it, because it would make him stronger. Of course, he was an alchemist, and he planned to use the method of refining pills. Heavenly alchemy could be refined in a variety of situations, and it could also be used for refining many things, and what he was most familiar with was refining pills. 4 divine deity S. Chen Shang teleported from the dragon vein. Leng Yulan saw that Chen Zhang's expression was not bad, and had a cheerful smile on his face, and asked, "Old brother, you have only been in closed-door cultivation for 10 days, are you unable to sit still anymore?" Leng Yulan was dressed in a battle attire with white armor and 2 large swords in her hands. She seemed to be very excited, and Chen Shang knew that she must be very excited to be able to fight a big battle. What's going on outside? Chen Shang tapped on the hard white armor on her shoulder. The insects have all been killed, and the Hell Devil Emperor has made a contract with us. Lang Yulan laughed. These guys actually sent 3 representatives to challenge us, saying that as long as we win against them, they will immediately retreat, and not come out to do evil for the next 10 years. Chen Shang frowned. What if we lose? If we lose, we have to give them 10 billion Shen Yuan stone. Lang Yulan snorted lightly. These fellows must be crazy and poor. This won't do, we'll lose too much. We lost, they obtained 10 billion Shen Yuan stone, but they lost and they just left. They don't have any risks. Chen Shang was an alchemist, he often traded elixirs, and could be considered a businessman. If it was him, he would definitely not agree to this kind of thing. Lang Yulan said. There's no other way, this is what Jiyu Dongchen and the others have decided. If you want to know the specifics, you can ask them. I also know that this matter is not that simple, they are not idiots, they must have other thoughts. You have been arranged to fight. Seeing how excited Lang Yulan was, Chen Shang asked. Yes, they requested that it be a battle of 6 divine deity, at most, it should not exceed 6 divine deity, said. It was very difficult to condense the 6th divine deity, which was a stage of dividing mountains and water. Amongst the gods, there weren't many with 9 divine deity, and in order to attack 10 of them, most of them had been in closed doors cultivation for many years. And what had just formed 6 divine deity was at its most active moment, most suitable for such extreme battles. I'll go ask Jiyu Dongchen. Chen Shang had too many doubts in his heart. LV Kilian and Long Huishan who knew the truth were not here, he could only teleport to the 100 Flowers Hall. Only Yan Zilan was there, so she did not understand much about it. Where is he? Chen Shang only saw Wu Kaming here. You already went to train the little ghosts. You probably don't know yet, right? Wu Kaming also knew that Chen Shang had gone in for closed-door cultivation. You came out so quickly, are you in closed-door cultivation to refine pills? Chen Shang shook his head. No, I know you have agreed to Hell Devil Emperor's conditions, and we will be sending 3 people over to participate, right? Wu Kaming nodded his head, and laughed. Right now, we are just worrying about this matter. We have already sent about 6 divine deities worth of people to register, and 3 will definitely emerge, do you want to go and try? Chen Shang found it funny, because when he saw Lang Yulan's excited look, he thought Lang Yulan had already been chosen. The selection battle had not even started, yet she thought that she had won, and she was as confident as ever. I will go too. Hell Devil Emperor will definitely be very happy to see me. Chen Shang laughed. Is the agreement you made with him reliable? Don't worry, we aren't idiots. Wu Kaming said. Even though this solution seems to be a little disadvantageous to us, but at the moment, if we can exchange it for 10 years of peace, it would be a very good development for us. You must know, the power behind the underworld gate is very strong, it is definitely not something that we can go head-to-head with. If they were to fight with the Hell Devil Emperor head-on, then it would take many years, and the 9-heaven world would be completely annihilated. At that time, when the Super God Realm was also merged with the Super God Realm, it would be much easier for the 9 Gods nation to take action, and he could control the 9-heaven world. Have you guys sent anyone to contact the Heavenly Divine Palace? Chen Shang now also understood why Jiyu Dongchen and the others agreed to this condition. No matter if they won or lost, it would stop Hell Devil Emperor from messing around with them. In the long run, it would benefit the entire 9-heaven world. Yes, the great Divine Lord has told us that he will not interfere in this matter for the time being, because if he interferes, the experts of the divine nations hidden here will make a move as well. The 9-heaven world will immediately become their battlefield. Wu Kaming said. 9 Gods nation does have a lot of things to do right now, so they will try their best to avoid starting a war with Great Divine Lord. There was a lot of chaos within the countries of the 9 Gods nation. All of their power had been dispersed and there was no time to worry about the 9-heaven world, they could only arrange for a few people to take responsibility for it. Oh right, are you sure you want to participate? You're not joking around, right? I have to say, there are quite a few outstanding seedlings right now. Don't lose too badly at that time. Wu Kaming laughed. Let's talk about the hundreds of Flowers Village, those girls are not weak either. The corner of Chen Zhang's mouth rose as he smiled. Little Baldy, you're underestimating me too much. Don't think that just because I have too little divine deity that I can be easily bullied, and even more so, don't think that I'm just fooling around doing alchemy all day. Wu Kaming laughed. I have not underestimated you. If I had used any unconventional methods, I think that I would have been tortured to the point that there would not even be dust left, but in the competition that is governed by the rules, if you did not use any of those tricks, it would have been very restrictive on you. In the past, many rankers didn't even know how they died at Chen Zhang's hands, so Wu Kaming had no doubts about Chen Zhang's strength, but he understood that it was Chen Shang who used underhanded methods. If it was an open and honorable battle, Chen Shang would not have any chance of winning. Of course, Junior Martial Uncle, if you go for the alchemy competition, we'll give you a spot. But for this fight, you should leave it to those kids who have been through special training all year round. They're more adept, Wu Kaming said again. He had originally planned to speak without thinking with Chen Shang, but he didn't expect Chen Shang to really go. No, tell me a name, I must go. Chen Shang said firmly. Wu Kaming knew that he had made a mistake, because Chen Shang was someone who would not admit defeat. His words just now had provoked Chen Shang. Chapter 2077. Seeing how determined he was, Wu Kaming secretly regretted his decision. He should not have provoked Chen Shang, but he was worried that he would lose during the extreme fighting. Remember to help me register. If you're not there, hee. Chen Shang laughed sinisterly, and then left the city lord's mansion, walking alone inside it. Since Hell Devil Emperor had already made a promise with Ji Yu Dongchen and the others, then what they needed to do now was to make preparations for the upcoming battle. In order to select even more outstanding candidates, there would be a competition. When that time came, Ji Yu Dongchen and the others, as the referees, would also be able to find outstanding seedlings to train them. Chen Shang was aimlessly walking on the busy streets. His mind was not on the competition, but on how to refine divine deity S through pill refinement. He needed to create a method to condense divine deity S. Previously, he had used the method of refining pills to quickly cultivate the fourth divine deity. After tasting the sweetness, he wanted to continue cultivating it even more. You can cultivate divine deity by consuming various divine pellets, and the only thing you need to do is to refine and fuse the medicinal power of the divine pellets. However, the process is extremely slow and the efficiency is also very low. Chen Shang felt that he could directly refine the various divine pellets that raised his strength, and then refine them into divine deity. He could do this, but it would take a very long time. The large divine deity he obtained from killing the bugs and also required the divine nation's S to spend a lot of time and resources to condense it. Chen Shang strolled through the city until it was night, then returned to the 100 Flowers Pavilion, where Long Huishan was also present. Where's Sister Kilian? Chen Shang asked. He wanted to ask LV Kilian something. She knows how to teach Yulan and Chenxiang. Long Huishan said, in 10 days, he will compete with that little demon for those 3 spots. You should have heard of this matter. Chen Shang nodded his head, and he had also participated, so it was clear that Long Huishan and the others did not know about his registration. What about Fu Tian School's Fu Tiangao, did he succeed in killing him? Asked. Setting up a trap to kill off all of the Fu Tian School's was an extremely secretive matter, and Yan Zilin might not even know about it. No, Fu Tiangao and his father escaped, but the more than 4,000 disciples they sent over all died in the killing array. Long Huishan shook his head. That Fu Tian school is very strong, his strength has far exceeded our expectations, even under such circumstances he was still able to bring his son and run away. Then after killing the bugs, did you get the great divine deity? Chen Shang asked again, he really liked this kind of thing. I didn't get it, and I don't know why we didn't discover that kind of great divine deity, could it be that only the first insect does? Long Huishan had also participated in the battle after killing the bugs. She knew that Chen Shang desperately needed the great divine deity, so she had paid attention to it at that time. This caused Chen Shang to frown. If there was only that bug queen, then it meant that the great divine deity was even harder to condense than he had imagined, even the resources and power grasped by the divine nations would be difficult to achieve. He had originally planned to study how the great divine deity was refined carefully. When can we compete with Hell Devil Emperor and the rest? Chen Shang saw that everyone was not so nervous, there was still time for the competition. 1 month later, we are worried that someone from the divine nations will help them carry out a competition. Long Huishan said, that's why I am sending all of my outstanding disciples here. Chen Shang laughed, Big Sis Long, do you think that if I were to participate in the selection too, I would be able to compete for those 3 spots? Yan Zilan, who had been standing quietly at the side, laughed. Do you even need to say that? You can definitely fight for it. Long Huishan also laughed. That's true, this little demon is hiding his strength well, even though he is extremely well hidden from us. You two have such confidence in me, to think that this little baldy Wu Kaming was actually worried that I would lose during the selection. Chen Shang said with gratitude. Yan Zilan chuckled. His worries are not without reason, because at that time, all of the participants will be using their full power, and they cannot use any other means, which would require a lot of publicity. You have always been giving people the impression that you have a lot of tricks up your sleeves, and it's also because the time between Super God Realm and here is different, which is why you have to come back, losing a lot of time and your cultivation level hasn't reached the boundary of the 6th divine deity yet. It's normal for him to not look favorably on you. Chen Shang touched Yan Zilan's jade face. My analysis is not bad, then why do you think so highly of me? When Long Huishan saw that Chen Shang had made a move on Yan Zilan, he knew that Yan Zilan was also his man. Because you cultivate in the taboo magic, so during the competition, there is no limit to how much you can use these taboo magic, and many people do not even know much about these taboo magic. Even we do not know much about the might of the taboo magic that you cultivate in. Yan Zilan said. Although I have seen you use it before, it is full of different kinds of things. Long Huishan nodded his head and said, the strong thing about taboo magic is that it has a very big effect. For example, your god-murdering sword techniques is different from Wang Jinshi's, but the heavenly alchemy is even more difficult to say. Yu Jia said before, only you have comprehended it the deepest, and the things that they have comprehended are very shallow. Yan Zilan laughed. Wu Kaming is worried that your heroic name will be ruined in this selection, that's why he said that to you. But come to think of it, you really plan to participate. Chen Shang crossed his legs, and laughed. The two of you aren't worried about this, are you? Long Huishan and Yan Zilan were silent for a while. They understood Chen Zhang's methods very well. If Chen Shang used all of his skills, even if he was too godly, they would probably be killed by him. But if it was an open and honorable competition, it would be hard to say. In their eyes, Chen Shang only had 3 divine deity. In addition to that, perhaps he could also barely compete with the 6 divine deities which were at his limits. That's not it. I heard that you have cultivated bones, adding that you are using the taboo magic during battle. There is no problem if you want to win against the 6 divine deity. Long Huishan said. Chen Shang had experienced so many battles, just the accumulated fighting aura and rich experience was not something that a young person could compare with. Chen Shang laughed. I have already participated in it, but I will only tell the two of you, don't mention it to Yulan and Chenxiang. They have always wanted to compete with me, at that time I will give them a surprise, and also teach them a lesson. Yan Zilan was a little surprised. Ah, you really participated in it. If Hell Devil Emperor knew, he would definitely be happy to death, he really wanted to kill you. At that time, he would definitely do everything he could to find the strongest 6 divine deity to fight you. Chapter 2078. Chen Shang wasn't really worried about this. Many people only knew that he had grasped the 2 taboo magic s, the god-murdering sword techniques and the heavenly alchemy. After all, it was easy to expose when using it, and it was difficult to conceal. However, the 2 divine arts of the heavenly spirit Kung Fu and the 6 realms magic Kung Fu were well hidden by him. The 6 realms magic Kung Fu helped him cultivate and create a strong 6 realms power, while the heavenly spirit Kung Fu allowed him to develop his celestial phenomenon ability. Big Sis Long, Bing Yan has come out. You can go and have a good talk with her now. Yue suddenly flew over and said with a smile, Bing Yan will teach you how to grasp the power of the ice laws. Shui Bingyan had the Tao Heart Stone, so long as it was a small pellet, it could bring a lot of benefits to a person. At that time, Chen Shang had also given some to Feng Yuji, and when Feng Yuji returned to Hundreds of Flowers village, he had also distributed quite a bit. Long Huishan nodded, then said to Chen Shang, when the time comes, I'll try my best to come out of seclusion and quickly support you. Hearing Long Huishan's words, Yue immediately understood that Chen Shang was also participating in the selection competition. After Long Huishan left, Chen Shang asked, Sister Zilan, are there any training rooms here? Yes, deep underground. I'll take you there. Yan Zilan naturally hoped that the man he loved would become stronger. I need you to guide me when the time comes. Chen Shang carried Yue and followed behind Yan Zilan. They quickly arrived at the underground training room. Yan Zilin warned Chen Shang to pay attention to the time, then walked out and closed the door. Yue flew around Chen Shang once, and said in shock, "How did you create the fourth divine deity? You just managed to cultivate the third divine deity not long ago." Last time when Chen Shang was training the third divine deity, Yue was the one who was giving him pointers. Yue remembered it very clearly, and not too long after, Chen Shang created a set of divine deity. I fused with that great divine deity, and then I used the Qilin fire chain to cultivate my divine soul. Chen Shang said, "When I was fusing with the great divine deity, I used the method of me refining the pellet of the specifics are a bit complicated, but in short, this is my new method. It's just that I didn't think that the Bug Empress would no longer have great divine deity, what a pity." Quote, "Even if it fuses with that great divine deity, isn't that a little too fastic?" Yue, who came from the Star Law divine realm, found this unbelievable as well, and it was only 10 odd days ago. "Alright, this is a technique you just created, it should be related to the heavenly alchemy, right?" Chen Shang nodded his head. "I am preparing to participate in the selection, I need to master some techniques or methods to use bones, I do not have much understanding towards bones, of course, I mainly use them to deal with Hell Devil Emperor." Yue of course knew about the selection, because the hundreds of Flowers village had been picking people to participate in it in the past few days, and also through competitions. "When the time comes, your two younger sisters will participate. Aren't you afraid of hurting their hearts?" Yue laughed. "You might be soft-hearted when the time comes. It's not like I've never hit them before." Chen Shang laughed. "Don't worry about that. If I meet them, I must defeat them so they won't think that I, their brother, need their protection." "Oh right, will Shenxian participate?" Chen Shang asked. "No, the beauties who forge equipment and refine pills don't like fighting, but they don't look weak either." Yu said. These days, she had been the darling of the hundreds of Flowers village, and they got to know each other very well. "Let's get down to business. The divine soul that you fused with is the star-swallowing divine cows, and this guy can also be considered to be from the star-moon divine race. He must definitely have a very powerful star-moon within his divine soul, so the bones technique that I use is suitable." Yue said. "I suggest that you integrate all of your bones into the star-moon divine soul in the future so that you can use my technique. In the future, I will teach you the divine star-moon art so that you can absorb the power of the star-moon." "Yue, you are so kind. Thank you so much." Chen Shang rubbed her face. "I'm very grateful to you as well. If it wasn't for you saving me, I might still be serving as a sacrifice right now." Yue laughed. Yue entered Chen Zhang's divine sense sea and passed her bones technique to him, allowing him to familiarize himself with her first. "The bones and methods I use are reserved and insidious," Moon Child said. "In other words, when you attack, there won't be any aura. Only when you attack the enemy will it be effective. Strength is also the type that belongs to the yin attribute. If you do not hit, then you will not need to use up your energy. You are training in the Six Realms power, so through the transformation of the Six Realms power, the power that you unleash will become even more terrifying." Yu said. "Divine power of the cold moon." Chen Shang muttered, and then used this technique to circulate the Six Realms power in his body, and when it flowed into his fist, it released a faint light, just like moonlight. "Yes, this is an ice-cold power, but it will not directly freeze the surface of the enemy. For example, if you hit the body of the enemy, the cold power will be able to instantly pierce through their air filth, or even freeze their bone and blood." Yue replied, "Of course it's not just the effects of the cold, because the power of your bones is already very frightening. This cold energy is only supplementary." Chen Shang nodded his head. Even if he did not use Six Realms power directly using his fists against it would still be able to unleash a very terrifying power. If his bones and Six Realms power were to work together, the power would be even more terrifying. "If you want to be a little more violent, then use the Meteor Immortal power," Yu said. Chen Shang tried using the technique that Yue had just taught him, and as he rolled up the sleeves of his left arm, he only saw a wave of energy that caused his skin to bulge out. "Come here." Seeing that the power was about to burst out of his fist, Chen Shang anxiously controlled it, otherwise, it would cause a big commotion. "I really didn't expect that after using it, bones would actually absorb a large portion of Six Realms power so fiercely." After passing through the bones, that surge of Six Realms power shot out of the fist like a meteor. "The power it released must be very sharp," Chen Shang exclaimed, and was secretly overjoyed. Chen Shang grasped it very quickly, especially the Meteor Immortal power just now. He used it several times in a row, and the power he used each time became greater and greater. What's going on? It's actually hotter than before. Uaa exclaimed, you don't seem to be directly using the six realms' power. Chen Shang said as he nodded his head, no, the divine deity that I have condensed just now is flame divine deity. I now have 2 flame divine deity. I want the 6 realms power to first pass through 2 flame divine deity and transform it into firepower, and then let the bones absorb it and transform it into meteor immortal power. So that's how it is. It's pretty good to use it like this. Uaa replied, these 2 moves are enough for you to use. Chen Shang looked at his left hand and sighed, it's a pity that only this part has bones. Chapter 2079. Chen Shang had mastered these 2 moves in just one night, but he felt that it was not enough. After that, he used a few more days of time and used a portion of the bones techniques once or twice. You don't need to use weapons in battle, but you can use protective gear. Uaa replied, this way, you won't be able to use your god-murdering sword techniques at all. The god-murdering sword techniques was also one of Chen Zhang's trump cards, although he did not use it much. I'm fine. Chen Shang understood the 7 devil slain Kung Fu, and there were similarities between the time changes in the first style and the god-murdering sword techniques. Chen Shang exited the secret room. After taking a bath, he used the transmission array to head towards the Hundreds of Flowers village. Under Uaa's lead, he arrived at a large courtyard that was surrounded by 3 sides of a mountain. This is where they forge their equipment. The environment is not bad. When Chen Shang walked into the courtyard, he immediately felt a warm wind blowing. It was extremely sultry inside, but he was able to endure it. At this time, Dongfang Xinyue and Lu Meng'er were both sitting cross-legged on stone stools beside the stove. Although it was very hot in this place, they did not feel hot at all. The 2 girls were dressed in extremely loose white dresses, and when Chen Shang arrived, he did not disturb them. He entered the hall in the house, and the moment he entered, he saw that Shui Shenxian and Dongfang Jing were there. They were carefully looking at a drawing on a long table, and did not notice that Chen Shang and Uaa had entered. Brother. Dongfang Jing unintentionally turned her head to look outside, and suddenly saw Chen Shang standing there smiling, and exclaimed in surprise. When Shui Shenxian heard it, he also raised his head. After seeing Chen Shang, he was rarely overjoyed and hastily walked over. I've been back for so long and finally saw you. Shui Shenxian and Chen Shang hugged each other for a while, then looked at each other with deep emotions. They didn't need to say anything more, as they could already feel each other's feelings. I heard from Uaa that you guys wouldn't be staying in seclusion during this period of time, so I came here to try my luck and see if I could see you busy beauties. Chen Shang laughed, and gently caressed Dongfang Jing's head. Jing has become more powerful too, she is now a master refiner. Brother, I missed you so much. Dongfang Jing hugged Chen Zhang's arm and said tenderly. Chen Shang looked at Lu Meng'er and Dongfang Xinyue who were outside. They seemed to already know that he had come, but continued with their matter. What are the elder sister Meng'er and Xingyu doing? Why are they so serious? Chen Shang asked softly. They are smelting artifact materials, which is very critical, so they can't stop right now. Shui Shenxian held Chen Zhang's hand and chuckled. Little scoundrel, don't go around bullying people in Hundreds of Flowers village. How could I? I'm very honest, don't you believe me? Chen Shang looked at Uaa, who was in Dongfang Jing's embrace, and saw Uaa shake her head. Shui Shenxian laughed, look at Uaa, she isn't even helping you. Honestly speaking, who have you harmed this time? I really don't have any. You're really not kind. Chen Shang scratched his head, looking at Uaa aggrieved, and then looking at Dongfang Jing. Brother, just be honest with me. It's going to be like this anyways. It's not like Sister Shenxian will say anything to you. Dongfang Jing smiled gently and sweetly. Jing, Ua, Chen Shang was completely speechless. Dongfang Jing actually said the same thing. Well, yes, Sister Violet Orchid and Sister Wei Shan A, and there's also Sister Qinlian. Chen Shang told her the truth. This was the woman that he had intimate with after he returned. This, really, big Sister Wei Shan, you dare to move. Although Shui Shenxian said that, he was already stepping on Chen Zhang's feet. Dongfang Jing also snickered by the side. Shenxian, can you guys help me refine a pill furnace? After so many years, I still don't have a good pill furnace. Chen Shang purposely pretended to be pitiful. After Shui Shenxian heard this, he snorted, why didn't you say so earlier? Chen Shang laughed. How can it be as good as yours? Using your pill furnaces to concoct pills, I will definitely make it much smoother. I will concoct many pills for all of you to eat. Shui Shenxian looked at Dongfang Jing and immediately took out a thick piece of paper. This is the blueprint that we found in the Divine Book. It's mainly for refining a divine stove. It's not difficult for us to refine it, it's just that we are lacking in the materials, because the materials that we need are materials that we have never seen before, so we have never heard of them before. What materials do you need? Give me a list and I'll think of a way to get it. Chen Shang said. Shui Shenxian immediately wrote down a list for Chen Shang. They were only missing 3 items. Chen Shang had heard of them before, but since they were lacking, then they must be very precious. Right, there's one more thing. Chen Shang let the Profound Wu clothing reveal himself and said, "This is the Profound Wu clothing. Have you all seen this before from that divine book?" "I have." After Shui Shenxian learned that this was a Profound Wu clothing, he suddenly became very excited. He anxiously came over and touched it, and then used his spiritual sense to investigate this Profound Wu clothing, which was the same for Dongfang Jing. "It's broken, and it's very serious," Shui Shenxian said as his brows knitted together. Originally, there were 9 divine deity grooves here, and they were meant for divine deity. Now, there's only one of them, and the fused divine deity does not match the Profound Wu clothing either, causing the Profound Wu clothing's power to decrease by a lot. Shui Shenxian said. Dongfang Jing nodded his head. But repairing isn't easy either. According to the records in the Divine Book, refining this Profound Wu clothing back then was extremely difficult. It was one of the hardest among the 5 divine weapons. This Profound Wu clothing is very hard to obtain, Chen Shang said. Then Shui Shenxian and Dongfang Jing guided him and quickly took it off according to the method written in the Divine Book. Chen Shang now knew that when Shui Shenxian and the others were refining and setting up the array, they were both involved in the coordination and usage of divine deity, so they had a very deep understanding of this aspect. "Can you guys fix it? Do you need me to refine something else?" Chen Shang asked. "I still don't know. Let's talk after Elder Sister Menge'er and Sister Warm Moon have arrived." Although this Profound Wu clothing is broken, its defensive power is still very strong. It's alright for you to just take it off like this. Shui Shenxian was a little worried. This was Chen Zhang's life-saving armor. "Don't worry, I still have other methods. The art of breeding heavenly elephants that Chen Shang cultivates is also a very powerful defensive godly art." The dead man suddenly came back and threw us so many things to do. Lu Menger's soft groan came from outside the door. Hearing Lu Menger's voice, Chen Shang couldn't help but think back to everything that had happened between him and Lu Menger. Dongfang Xinyue smiled at Chen Shang charmingly. That charming smile was filled with a myriad of emotions. As Lu Menger spoke, he had already reached the side of the table and picked up the Profound Wu clothing, looking at it. "I can fix it. It will take some time, but it's a bit more difficult to fill in the missing divine deity." Lu Menger handed the Profound Wu clothing over to Dongfang Xinyue, and then gently wiped the sweat off Chen Zhang's forehead. "A few days ago, that girl Yulan came to find me. She said that she wanted to fight for us, the Hell Devil Emperor." Lu Menger asked. She was not clear about these things. Chapter 2080. Lu Menger and the others weren't very clear about this matter, and Leng Yulan didn't explain in detail to them either, as if he was worried that they would stop him. Chen Shang told them about this matter. "No wonder Kilian came to find me a few days ago and asked if I wanted to participate in the competition. We were not interested in that," Lu Menger said. "When the time comes, Yulan and Chen Xiang will definitely go all out. They really like fighting against all kinds of opponents." Seeing Chen Zhang smile, Shui Shenxian asked, "Husband, you aren't participating, right?" "I'm definitely going to participate. Don't you know how much the little baldy underestimates me?" Chen Shang said with an unconvinced face. "You're still saying that I don't have any proper methods, so I don't have any strength." Lu Menger and the others were Chen Zhang's women after all, so they knew everything about this. Even though they were not clear about Chen Zhang's strength at the moment, according to their understanding of Chen Shang, there was no way he would do something where there was no chance of victory. "When the time comes, we won't go. You will definitely win. This is something without any suspense. Since we know you can win, there's no point in us going." Dongfang Xinyue smiled as she caressed Chen Zhang's handsome face. Shui Shenxian said, "Sister Han Ru came to us and told us that you have collected all the ancient divine weapons. Can you let us take a look?" Lu Menger and the others were more interested in these things, just like how Leng Yulan and the others were obsessed with battles. Chen Shang placed the Azure Dragon Divine Saber, Suzaku Bow, Qilin Fire Chain and the White Tiger Gloves on the table. These items looked extremely ordinary, but were all refined by the Heavenly Divine Lord. Heavenly Divine Lord has recorded all he learned about artifact forging in the Divine Book. All of these are in that book. Now that I can see what's inside, it's pretty amazing. Lu Meng'er held onto the Green Dragon Divine Saber and waved it a few times. Although the blade looked very ordinary, the materials used and the complicated spirit grain inscriptions drawn inside were not ordinary at all. After playing with them for a while, they finally got Chen Shang to keep them. The only problem was that these divine weapons did not have enough divine deity within them. Leave this profound WU clothing with us for now. We will help you repair it as soon as possible. Lu Meng'er placed the profound WU clothing into a wooden chest and stored it away. What you need the most right now should be a good pill furnace. Chen Shang nodded. Didn't you guys say that you are lacking materials? The materials to refine that divine furnace must all be from the divine nations, and I might have to go there to find them. Quote. Shui Shenxian kept all the blueprints on the table, and took out a few cups, and poured some fragrant fruit juice for the people here. There's no need to go to the divine nations to find him. Shui Shenxian took out a plate, poured some juice on it and passed it to Yuei. Thank you, Sister Shenxian. Yuei tenderly said. Shui Shenxian smiled, gently patted Yuei's little head, and continued, you can ask Great Divine Lord for it. The divine book in our hands was originally from 9 divine kings, so they definitely have a lot of materials in their hands. Dongfang Xinyue also nodded his head. Since they have the intention to return to their country, they must be hoarding quite a bit of resources in this area. Chen Shang did not actually think about going to Great Divine Lord. He really did need a good pill furnace. The divine pills he refined next would require him to make all sorts of dangerous attempts. Ordinary pill furnaces would not be able to handle them. Alright, I'll go now. Chen Shang nodded. When Great Divine Lord and the others were saved, they built a heavenly divine palace on that desert. Great Divine Lord even said that he wanted to open a dragon vein. Chen Shang still remembered where he was. He had left the Hundreds of Flowers village and was teleported to the nearest city in the desert. After arriving at the city, he immediately found out that the Heavenly Divine Palace was openly recruiting disciples. Right now, Great Divine Lord could not directly participate in the affairs of 9 Heaven World, or else divine nations would also take action, and seeing the outbreak of war here was not what Great Divine Lord wished to see, but he could take this opportunity to choose an outstanding seedling to begin nurturing. Right now, he had so many resources, and Great Divine Lord and the rest had a deep foundation, he could quickly nurture a group of outstanding disciples. This city was still rather far from the Heavenly Divine Lord, but Chen Shang knew where he was heading. He immediately used the space wind to go through a mountain range, and discovered that he seemed to have taken the wrong path. It should be a desert ahead. Chen Shang looked at the beautiful prairie in front of him and started to suspect if he had recognized the wrong direction. Just when he was unsure, he saw a group of people riding magic treasures flying over. Behind them, there were also people riding magic treasures continuously, and there were quite a few people coming and going. This place has definitely been remodeled by the Heavenly Divine Palace before. With their powers, this place is too easy. After Chen Shang understood everything, he continued to use the space wind to move forward. Not long after, he stopped because he felt a weak spatial fluctuation in front of him. This was caused by a powerful formation. In front of them was the majestic Heavenly Divine Palace. Just the golden door was enough to shock everyone, let alone the tall buildings inside. Through the wide open doors, one could see the magnificent buildings and the tall mountains. There were not just buildings, but also mountains and rivers, making the interior very beautiful and comfortable to live in. Although the door was wide open, not everyone could enter. The door that led to the dragon had a translucent barrier that could be seen at a glance. Anyone who entered would be blocked by this barrier. What Chen Shang did not understand was that there were no guards outside the gate nor were there any other small doors. He did not know how to enter as well, but many people were currently waiting and chatting at the bottom of the gate. An old man who was very talkative saw that Chen Shang was at a loss, and walked over, laughing. "This little brother, is this your first time here? Don't you know how to get in?" Quote. Chen Shang didn't have any way to contact the Great Divine Lord right now. He nodded. He wanted to see the Great Divine Lord as soon as possible. Don't worry, once noon arrives, the enchantment will weaken. As long as you can enter this door, Even if you pass the first stage of the examination and the next stage, I heard that there are a total of 3 stages. You will be able to become a member of the heavenly divine palace after passing the first stage. The old man said, I can pass the first stage, but I can never pass the second stage. Chen Shang finally understood that there were actually many people who came here every day to try and pass the 10 trials set up by the heavenly divine palace. Interesting. Chen Shang laughed. He also wanted to see the content of the heavenly divine palace's examinations. Young man, being confident is a good thing, but being too confident is not so good. This exam was extremely difficult, especially so for the final test. It was said that not even Empyrean gods would be able to pass it. But strangely, only a few imps from the profound God and true God could pass, so I guess that someone was guarding the third trial. The old man said.